Hello.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. See, that sounds like an inclusive greeting, but what it actually is I say good morning despite the fact that it's not the morning, and then I panic and just throw the other two in there.
Yeah. So, something I've been wondering, actually.
Ask me you're wondering.
So, I've been playing some Teppen, and, cards pop up every now and then, and I see things and I go, hey, look, that's a Capcom. That's a
That's
Capcom I know.
Capcom.
That's a
That's
Capcom
the
I don't.
game. That's the whole game. That's a Capcom.
Yeah. So, and sometimes I go, oh, there's a Capcom. And sometimes I go, like, is that really a Capcom?
Or that's a Capcom?
Right. And so I got this card that I started playing in my deck, and it
Right.
shows off a Resident Evil villain who seems to be a long-haired military man.
All right, I have it ready for me to punch the name of the card in.
Well, the description should be more than enough because standing next to this military man is what appears to be a big tyrant in a white coat with shades
Yeah.
on. And
Yeah,
then
it's
I
Ivan.
saw another card that had two of these tyrants dressed almost like the twins from The Matrix,
Yeah.
wearing all white, but one of them had red shades and one of them had blue shades. And
Yeah, that's the Ivans.
it was the single dumbest looking thing I think I've ever seen associated with Resident Evil. What the actual fuck is happening?
Let me take a quick look. Didn't you play Umbrella Chronicles?
Umbrella Chronicles? Yes, I did.
That's where they're from. You probably fought those dudes.
So is that the guy you have a knife fight with?
No,
No, eh?
that's when you beat the game and you unlock the Wesker campaign. He's sneaking in the base before Chris and Jill get there, and the evil Russian military man tosses out the Ivans, which are just two Mr. X's with red and blue sunglasses.
Oh
And they're
wow.
ugly. They're ugly sunglasses. So I was just in the back of my head. I'm like, did you not only play that, but did you like record that and just delete it from your
No,
mind?
no. I was it a second campaign with Wesker? Because
Yeah, it was the post game campaign with
then I
Wesker.
might not have done that. I think I just did the normal campaign and then that was it. So I don't think I saw that because I
Oh, were
saw
you
those.
asking if like one of those dudes was Krauser?
No, I was the military man because I didn't
Yeah.
remember. I didn't remember whether or not the military man was the same guy that you have the knife fight with. But regardless of, but he was just a military man, so I was like, okay, whatever. I may
He
or
was
may not.
an old standby of the Code Veronica plot
Yeah,
line that was a bunch of Umbrella's founders are like European like neo nobles or whatever the fuck.
I saw the military man, and my brain went, you might recognize this dude, or you might not. You may or may not have seen him before, or whatever. But
I
then
don't remember that guy's name.
but then I saw the twins, and I saw these big dumb red blue tyrant twins with these super cool like over the head like Zack from Dead or Alive style shades
Oh, they're
on.
the shittiest sunglasses ever too. That
And I
style of sunglasses
can't
is fucking
believe
horrible.
how terrible these monsters look, much less they're supposed to chase you down and fight you and intimidate you. They're the lamest looking things I think I've ever seen in Resident Evil. I can't believe how dumb it is.
Oh my god, the character. Do you know what that military man's name was? Sergei Vladimir.
Yes, yes. That
That
rings a
might
bell with the card.
be. That might be. He might as well be named like Joe America, but Russia.
Right.
Like that's terrible. Holy shit.
And who's the guy you fight with the knife?
Krauser?
Krauser. Okay. All right. So, yeah.
Well, like, as somebody who has like 80, maybe 90% of Resident Evil's plot on lock in his head, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. People like me have way way more of it going on in the backs of our minds than anyone who has ever worked on Resident Evil.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
like Leon was supposed to have a fucking sword and do high times to zombies and shit
Mm-hmm.
until he became Dante.
Yeah, no, you'd be surprised how often, like, people that are fans of the thing know the thing way more than the people making the thing. That happens. That happens quite a bit.
I'm sure I've told this story before, but my all-time favorite ever is in Resident Evil 3. There's a military group called the Biohazard Countermeasure Force, and when you bought the fucking Umbrella Archives Volume 2, which was the giant lore book, the art book thing, you would open it up, and every single fucking instance of the goddamn Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service was changed to the Umbrella Resident Evil Countermeasure Service, because they just fucking Control F replaced every single fucking word of Biohazard.
There you go.
Which is just like, oh, fucking shit. No one cares. No one gives a single shit ever.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, dude, the process of trawling through Guilty Gear's history is revealing the times where they've changed their minds about things. You know, you can see retcons, but then you can see things where it's like, actually, on second thought, I think we're just going to swerve in this direction because it is a better fit for something else, or whatever the case is.
That storyline started to break right away, and like attempts to fix it like never actually fixed any of them. So like the biggest confusion in all of Resident Evil history is, if Raccoon City was quarantined by the United States Special Forces, how the fuck did Leon and Claire just drive into town on an empty highway? And the answer is they missed that road, despite the fact that Raccoon City looks like a fucking city of like 60,000 people in the original, and there would be only one road.
That one perfect like postcard highway that they drive in on is the one
like,
that they missed blocking.
It's like it's so fucking wild. And then like the Resident Evil 2 remake comes out, and everyone's like, "Oh, cool, they're gonna unify all the events." And then they have situations where characters are in the same room, unconscious at the same time, and are occupying like literally the same physical space in the same world, but don't see each other and don't interact with each other. And like, who Annette died to what? Which one? I don't know, because certain events repeat in both scenarios and diverge in others. And you're like, what is... Oh, you know what? Just fucking go with the one game you're playing.
Oh, yeah.
Go with whatever it says.
For sure. Yeah. No, Kai's story mode has him say this line, but in Soul's story mode, he says this other line. Which of the two is the real line? Shut up.
Which character do you like best?
Synthesize it. Your brain put it together. And also, don't forget that everyone got to go see the last boss, but only one person actually beat them, though. You know?
Oh, like, hey, how... Every single Resident Evil game, except for like 3 and 4, have the same problem, which is how many of these people lived through the event.
Right.
In RE1, there are like 6 endings, and it can be your character, and the other playable character, your character and the other playable character, and your side character, or you and your side character. But all 4 make it out into the main series. Even though there's no ending that ever has Barry and Rebecca sit on each next to each other on the fucking helicopter.
I think Yoko Taro figured it out by just saying, "Look, man, there's multiple, and we're picking one. Shut up." You know, the others are there, but this is the one that goes to this one, and then the rest, like, take it or leave it.
Canon sucks, dude.
It's often a problem. I can definitely see that. And also, like, you have to choose between, like, adhering so strictly that you isolate people that are new versus, like, you know, the cool thing of continuing something that you already started.
There was a recent... Oh, God, I forgot what it was. It was... Somebody in the chat could remind me, maybe, but it was like a couple weeks ago. And it was this big storyline, I think it was a TV show, where they said we were thinking about doing this with the plot line, but the canon wouldn't allow it. Like our canon Bible wouldn't let us use the character in that way, so we had to shelve that plot line. And the universal reaction was, that sucks, who cares? Like, just do it good.
So what you got to do is you have to always write a moment where your main character falls into the life stream. And as long as you do that, everything is possible, and then you just spit him back out and finish the story. Give yourself an out. That's what I
find
say.
it funny that you mentioned the live stream, because that happens 3 times in FF14 story, where they don't know how to get a character out of a scene. Like there's a bunch of goons about to kill them, and they're like they realize they have written themselves into like a trap. And they just go, the person magicked themselves into the live stream, and next patch we'll do a 2-quest storyline where you drag them out.
Create a situation that gives you an on paper out, you know, for whatever you need to happen, and then just neatly tie it all up. You know, have oh shit, Dante, you thought he was driving to hell, but turned out that portal went somewhere else. Whoa, who knows what happened in there? And then
bam, done.
And then he came back out, and it was fine, and we don't talk about it.
Don't worry about it.
Where did he go? Did he hang out with the Demi-Fiend?
Seems hard.
Did he go to Namco X Capcom? Did he go to Project Cross Zone?
He only went to hang out with the Demi-Fiend if you're willing to spend like $11 extra on a bad PC port.
Like, you know, but it's just like, yeah, give yourself the moment that that you can just put it all together, you know. But plot problems aside, those designs are absolutely atrocious.
I mean, they're give me a mental moment, and I'm scanning through like every monster. There's like maybe one that's worse, and it's the final boss of Outbreak. If I can find it's the Thanatos.
Okay.
It turns into what looks like a giant dick with legs.
Okay. Let's see if there's a card for that, because I mean these twins are,
because it has multiple forms. That's the regular Tyrant one. Oh man, there's a bunch of different versions. That's the other regular Tyrant one. Was it? Oh god, what was it called?
The boss of Outbreak, you said?
Yeah, or maybe Outbreak number 2. Maybe Outbreak number 2 final boss.
Not seeing anything there for it.
Let me take a look. Oh yeah, I found it! This fucking piece of shit. Oh god, what's the name? Oh, what is the name of this fucking thing? Nyx. Oh man. This fucking thing. Let me get a good screenshot for you, Wooly. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
No card for this.
Oh, you'll never get it. Here you go. No, don't load up GOG Galaxy.
Oh my god. It's a penis.
Yeah, that's a penis.
With an asshole attached to the body.
Yeah.
It's the underside of a crotch.
So that thing is supposed to be like a G creation that just starts absorbing a tyrant and random people. And there's a video associated with its transformation if you want to see that shit. Hey, guess what? Don't.
Is it supposed to be scary? Like...
Well, it's supposed to be like an unstoppable monstrosity that you can't fight. And then you fight it. Oh, and by the way, the asshole part like opens up.
Of course. How else are you gonna eat the people?
Yeah.
How else are you gonna swallow them? Yeah.
That's that's the low bar. That's as low as the bar goes, to my knowledge, in Resident Evil.
Well, I'm gonna say Ivan is the single that to me is just because at least that dick monster is still a dumb dick monster, but this looks like the Wachowski siblings got their hands on some designs and decided to insert some monsters into Resident Evil. You know, that's what I think. It feels as if they're just not even remotely aesthetic matching to the rest of this world.
It's really bizarre because the entire Tyrant line has a really clear aesthetic, which is emotionless gray man, right? Maybe the features are a little distorted, right? And for the monstrousness, and by hiding the eyes, it makes them look like bros.
Yeah, sure, right.
Like
It's and it's the dumb shades. It's the dumb surfer sport Oakley over the top head. I'm not just surfer. I'm like
terrible.
I'm a windsurfer of some kind, or an extreme sport guy that's gonna do a flip, land on the beach, and do the do. You know, but maybe, just maybe, you can add one more feature to that list of features that Tyrants have. Maybe you can add Badonkadonk.
Yeah, I mean, the Tyrants, the T series, are explicitly desexualized in the mainline series, to the point where their genitals are grafted off so that all they have is kill. That's why when you have a monster series of giant naked people, you don't have to draw like dicks and pussies on them.
Well, I'll tell you what, those Lady D cheeks, those can kill. In that new footage.
They absolutely can. You see the fucking standee showing up at like GameStops and shit?
No, but that's smart.
It's a fucking standee of Lady D just standing there.
Measure
like
up to
tall.
It, right? Yeah, nice.
Like pre-order RE8 because this bitch is in there. She looks
Lean
like
into
this.
it. Lean into it. They know. Absolutely emphasize. You know, and put it out there. Yeah, making a standee so that anybody who hasn't caught on the internet that walks by that will have to sort out some feelings on site. You know, it's good. It's good. I like that.
They know, like you can see her panty line in one of the screenshots. And
Oh
you're
yeah,
like, oh you guys know exactly what you're doing. Though from the footage they put out, like the demo footage, it's like a new trailer. Like she appears to like the clap of her ass cheeks makes her like deaf to men sneaking around.
Correct. This is
Ethan
the new
is like 3 feet away.
Yes.
And she doesn't, and she looks at him and doesn't see him. It's fucking ridiculous.
The new dynamic is no longer that you can't sneak. It's that the clap of her cheeks. Yeah, she can no longer hear anyone else's footsteps around. 100%. It works both ways. I believe it. And also relevant to this week, but just on a complete different swerve. I was letting the people know, but I feel like personally I've hit a point where I'm a little done with April Fool's Day entirely.
I had a really similar moment earlier this week where it turned 11:59 of the 31st, and I'm like, what stupid shit am I going to see today that is either, there's only two. There's like, this joke sucks and it's actually like offending me and it's like callousness, or it's, that's a thing I actually want.
Correct.
Why would you taunt me with that?
Yes, the joke is we know what hurts because it's been ignored forever, or what you deeply, secretly really want to exist, and we're going to take a moment to hit you with it. Yeah, Big Dumb Lie Day. And it's gotten, I think, to this point because of the internet. Because the history of April Fools growing up, pre-internet, was just whatever. It's that day. people dick around and do things, and there's only so much that it can influence your life with your friends and people around you. My cousins in particular liked to find ways to be dickish, like put a fucking a powder in your, get powder to explode in your face, or switch the salt with the sugar, and that type of
harmless little goofs.
They would find ways to annoy you. But the internet then started, and then game magazines started, and we went with the history of fighting games in particular being tied to all these secrets, the biggest one of all time being Shenlong in Street Fighter, based off of a fucking April Fool's gag. And that just set off this whole thing of video game April Fool's gags are really effective against people who really like video games. And then we get to this era where the earliest, before IGN existed, it was N64.com, and they would put out pranks, and early GameSpot would put out pranks, and sites would run things here and there, and then every once in a while you'd catch things like the fake fighting game screenshots, like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. One of the earliest.
There were so many.
One of the early ones, though, that made the rounds was that red one that just photoshopped Thor and Zero into the same screenshot. And it's like, yeah, I guess if you're thinking of Marvel 2 and a bunch of beams and shit, you can say, sure, this could exist, but why in this way with this method, in this delivery, system of information? And it just kind of it got frustrating around then, but then I would say that it came back when companies started doing things themselves for fun. Like when Virtua Fighter made that Hyper Virtua Fighter trailer.
That looks super good.
Yes, right? That is what kind of made it great in those moments where you're like, okay, a company leaning into a gag is hilarious because they put some work into it, and you're seeing them doing shoryukens and hadokens, but they're censoring the words as they say them in the trailer. Unbelievable, hilarious gags, fun stuff.
The two main reasons why anyone is going to believe anything that they have no reason to believe is if they really want it to be true, or they're really afraid it's going to be true, which leads to the two types of April Fools. One is like you just described. Like, what if Virtua Fighter had hyper combat? You go, wow, and I would love that, and then you're just disappointed. Disappointment is the only possible response. Or the alternative, like April Fool, haha, there's beads that are coming to shoot AIDS syringes at you, and you go, oh no, and they go, April Fools, and you go, why did you scare me about bees? I'm afraid of bees that shoot AIDS. This isn't funny. I'm just upset.
And then you get the weirdness of we literally are just announcing a game, Fighting EX Layer. It's an April Fool's joke. What? You developed a whole game as a joke? Yes, yeah. And now we're releasing it. Okay.
A lot of folks in the chat are saying, but Yakuza 7 was an April Fool's joke. That's true. Yakuza 7's RPG combat did start as an April Fool's joke, which has now been retroactively removed of its April Fool's status because it became real.
Blood Dragon, right? Same deal. The thing is, though, is so I'm willing to give, to me, I'm when you see, a company grabs a game or something and puts, a work into something like that, that's a fun thing for everybody. I don't mind that. But in a lot of cases where it's just game journalist or game reporting site makes fake article and fake screenshots of thing, and it just becomes the lie tweet day, lie announcement day, lie everything day, and then we do that for the last 15 years. It's all right, I think we're kind of done with the day. I think I'm kind of over April Fools as a concept.
Yeah, on this year's April Fools, I came out and said, hey guys, tomorrow we're going to be doing a Fortnite stream, and that's going to be a weekly thing. And then on Friday, I tricked them all by doing a Fortnite stream.
There you go.
and it being a weekly thing,
Yep.
which I actually have to mention probably had the best April Fool's thing that I saw that day, which they put out a skin for Diamond Hands, which was the Stonks guy.
That's pretty funny. On March 31st at 11:59, a tweet popped up that was like, PlatinumGames announces, and I'm like, no, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
And you just, you just scroll past a screenshot of some bullshit. You're just like, shut up. Like, literally shut up and go away.
It's a big lie.
Yeah.
That being said, at this point, it could be April 2nd, and it would say PlatinumGames announces, and I'd be like, I still don't believe it. We're on day 1208, I want to say, of Bayonetta 3 no news.
Right. Anyway, how was your week?
My week, oh man, you sound so excited. You sound so interested. Oh man.
Actually, what I'm trying to
wait.
Well, what I'm trying to do is get to the bottom of people yelling that Platinum did announce things, because World of Demons is on the docket, but that's not the fake game that I saw an announcement for. So, PlatinumGames' April Fool's game Sol Cresta is real and releases this year.
Sure.
All right.
Whatever.
Okay.
I was told like 4 years ago that Bayonetta 3 existed, and that was a lie. So, like,
the final chapter of the Cresta saga, continuing the legacy of Moon Cresta 1980 and Terra Cresta 1985.
What? What are these?
A press release from Platinum.
No, I mean, what is Terra?
I think these are so this
is
joke.
A 1985 vertical side-scrolling. Oh, when you said 85, you meant actually 1985.
Well, that's what I said.
Oh, I thought it was.
So they released a trailer for a 2020 April Fool's game, leading many to believe it was coming out, and then everyone was like, yeah, that's a joke. And then this year they're back at it again. There's a new trailer, but it's not an April Fool's tag. This time it's a real announcement. Okay.
I miss when April Fool's was my dad telling me a story about him and his buddy Steve went to a baseball game in 1988 and how frogs rained from the sky. And I didn't remember it was April Fool's because I was 6 years old.
Okay, so is this G-Rev working with Platinum here? Because it sounds like it might be the Ikaruga people in like making a shmup alongside them. And if that's what's happening, that's super fucking radical. But the fact that this is extra confusing because of how this is announced is double annoying. This is extra annoying now because of the weird counter Fool's real aspect of it. Hamster Corporation. Okay. Well, all the more reason why we can officially just be done with it. We can be done with it.
April Fool's this year was just going to be depressing no matter what, because it's like it's still stuck inside. Still like,
yeah, there's definitely yeah, fucking counter breakers on your gags. All right, anyway, so this is a weird pseudo docket item then. Whatever. But yes, I that's what I was wondering about. But now that we've clearly gotten to the bottom of it and we know what's going on with that, go ahead.
Watch them cancel it next year on April Fool's, and then it's actually released.
What?
That'll get us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's switch over to Pat's week. This is the part where I usually look at the schedule to figure out what I did this week. but no need this week. Wooly, you gave me a weird look when I said I was going to play Kenshi on stream. Before I go into me playing Kenshi, I would like to ask you where the genesis of that weird look came from your internal brain. What do you know about Kenshi?
The genesis came from the fact that Kenshi is this really weird, old ass looking thing that is just big janks. And I don't know much about Kenshi, but I know it's big janks. So I don't know how that pick landed.
What I do know about Kenshi is a couple things. Is one, people kept telling me to play it. Two, there's a pretty good video review by Seth Sinch. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And it's one of those sandbox games where it's like, you can do anything. It was like, anything is a little vague. But it's totally freeform story RPG or whatever. What a miserable experience. Like, might be the least fun I have ever had actually playing a game on my stream. It's true. You can go anywhere and do anything, but
so it wasn't fun, jank.
It's bad to play. That's the part that the how to put this, like, that's the part that broke me, because I'm trying to get into all these genres that I don't know about or what have you, and this one was like, oh, the sandbox genre, okay, cool, the free open whatever. And aside from the initial directionlessness that I had, which was a lot of my own personality, the choice of you can do anything led to the realization that I didn't want to do anything because it looks and plays and sounds like and controls like complete trash.
Correct.
And I go, why would I want to spend the time mining thing to get the money, to get the party, to get a thing? I hate this combat, and the world is hideous, and these menus are breaking my HDMI connection to my television.
Now, the way you said that made it sound as if you didn't know that it was a giant jank mess going in.
I did know that, but, and this is the important thing, I expected there to be an initial appeal, right? Like, I'm thinking of games like The Forest is the one that is probably the most sandbox game I've played other than this, but even that is like build a base to defend yourself against natives and cannibals and whatnot and mutants. But this is like, it plops you down on a street and says go, and I go, what do you mean go? All right. So I asked for advice, and they're like, well, you can go mine ore to make money to get weapons. And I go, okay, what do you do with the weapons? Whatever you want. And it's like, but the menus and the actual experience of controlling and looking at the game are so fucking awful and miserable that I genuinely don't understand what the like it seems like a worse form of imagination. like me sitting there going, like, closing my eyes and twiddling my thumbs going, what if I was in a feudal land and I went and I worked my way, it like would be like a genuinely more interesting version of events, because at least my own mind controls well.
And you hate thinking up anything.
I hate that.
Creative.
And what didn't help was that the people who are way into Kenshi, by and large, don't seem to understand or remember a world in which people who want to try it aren't also way into Kenshi. So, like, the genuine advice that I got from many was, well, usually you're supposed to wiki for a couple hours before you hop into the game.
Okay.
And
Now,
it's like,
I
oh
don't,
no, that's unacceptable.
I don't know much about it, but I was never under the impression that people were into it unironically. I think
people are incredibly into it unironically.
Wow. Okay.
It has an overwhelming positive review score on Steam.
Because it almost like looks like.
Can you excuse me? I got somebody at the door.
Do your thing.
That's odd.
Right.
Before we move on, I want to point out that FedEx is the worst delivery service. As I ran upstairs to see the FedEx man having put a sticker on my front door, literally running down the street away from me.
Yep.
With no box in his hand.
Yep.
Back to his truck.
Yep.
And when I went, hey, he went, sorry.
Wow.
And drove away.
Yep, Duckman. It's the Duckman bit. Straight up. It's always the Duckman bit. Like, Duckman walks out of the house and the delivery guy's hiding in the bushes, and as soon as he leaves the house, he leans over and puts the tag and then returns to the bushes. Yeah. 1,000,000%.
All right. Anyway, yeah.
So,
terrible. All right, back to Kenshi.
Yeah, so I feel as if, and I don't know if this is the right comparison to make, but this is just what my brain does, because I feel like Kenshi is from that era that is like the same era as like Xenoclash, of just superb PC jank looking things. And I see it with like box art that is not like a Steam cover page, but it says like games for Windows on top of it, or it has like a box with that big, you know, that square black and white logo that says PC in the corner that used to be on old PC game boxes.
Yeah, the game came out 2 years ago.
What?
It came out in 2018.
Really? It's not old?
No,
oh my god.
Just ugly. 6th
Oh
of
my
December,
God.
2018.
Holy
Not old,
shit.
just ugly.
Okay. Wow. All right. Were you able to... Was there fun jank to be had at all?
No, I didn't find any. And it's this thing where I kind of feel bad because, like, I believe people when they tell me there's a lot of cool stuff in that game. But I didn't find any of it. I finished the session going like...
No, this came out in 2013. This is not...
Well, Steam literally says release date 8th of December, sorry, 6th of December 2018.
March 20th,
So that must have
2013.
been 1.0. That must have been 1.0. It must have been like early access or what have you.
Ported. It got ported.
So like, I didn't think anyone was lying to me when they said there was lots of crazy stuff and they enjoyed this game, but I didn't find any of it. I ended the thing going, are there characters? And everyone's like, oh yeah, there's tons of characters. Did you meet Beep? And I'm like, no, I spoke to like 20 different NPCs and they all had identical, like, hire me as a bodyguard dialogue, like every single one that I encountered. And stuff like that, where it's just like, oh, there's so much stuff. Where is it? Oh, you just find it. Like, I guess not. The interface is like the worst. Like, it's so bad. It has a text size option where you can increase the text of the UI, and changing that breaks every single interface in the game. It's just every single fucking piece of text just blows past its own box and like is half unreadable.
As was the style at the time. Not really, no.
Like, I've played Stalker as an example. Stalker's rad. Stalker's jank, but it's also rad. And part of that radness is that it was like fun to move around the zone and like shoot guys and scavenge and look around stuff. Kenshi, like, even like mouse movement was like annoying and bad. And so like I fucked around with like the RimWorld tutorial, which is similar, like it creates your own stories. It's, you know, kind of thing. And like RimWorld had like controls and art, and I didn't have a single moment during the RimWorld tutorial where I was like, why's it gotta be like this?
Was this the product of someone like DMing you to be like, hey man, I think you'd really be into Kenshi. Here's a big explanation about why.
No, this was the response of, you know, when you go, I don't know what to put on the schedule this week, and you ask like a Discord or a social media post or whatever, what do you guys want to see? And like for a year or two, every single time I did that, there would be at least like 2 or 3 people going, Kenshi, oh man, it'd be great, you stream Kenshi.
Gotcha.
I'm like, okay, I have a free spot. I'll take a look at it. And to the people who recommended it to me, most of which seem to be doing so in genuine recommendation, all I can think of is like, how could you ever watch my content and think that I would enjoy this even for a second? Like,
well, because they enjoy it, and the hope is that you will enjoy it like they did.
It explains why when I was like I was like sitting there trying as calmly and as non-derisively to explain why I was having trouble with the game, I was met with some severe frustrations. Some all caps, like, it's so easy, you just do this, you don't need to read the wiki, you just do it. I'm like, I don't know if that's accurate.
I've only heard about this game in the context of, look at this dumb janky shit, and screenshots of textures that are like, is that too zoomed in or too zoomed out? Like the ground, like I can't tell if that is too up close, if it's too close or too far away from the way the texture is laid on this rock or whatever the fuck, you know? Yeah. All right. Well, no surprises there.
One of the weirder things, I guess I could do a thought experiment of it right now, which is, it's like I don't have a lot of experience with sandbox games, and then I mention like The Forest, or I mention like Subnautica, or I mention like whatever, and literally every single time I do that, people go, "Well, that's not a sandbox game," and I go, "Okay, so what is then?" Because of the true sandbox games that I am aware of, I think they're all like just trash. Probably.
There is one,
like,
and it's called Nobi Nobi Boy.
No, that's a feeding it to girl game.
But the game is to just play in your sandbox. Then that's it.
Yeah. Oh, no, to the people confused, I did like Subnautica, but apparently that's not a sandbox game. Apparently there's Dwarf Fortress, Minecraft, and Kenshi.
I definitely don't think that you're suited for
genre.
Yeah, you're suited for this genre because it involves you having to make things happen and do things.
I'll tell you what, I'd way rather fucking play Minecraft than this fucking shit. I played Minecraft for all of 5 minutes one time, and I was able to move my character and do a jump, and was like, "Oh yeah."
So the joke about you getting unironically into Minecraft, we are that much closer. You realize?
Mm-hmm. I'm aware.
Okay.
I'm aware. Yeah, no, it's like I was so frustrated after playing it because there's the difference between I think this is trash, but I can understand why people would like it. I am now like genuinely more confused than before I played it. I am like looking at a sandwich with like fucking shards of glass with a coating of taint smear, going, "This is some people's favorite sandwich, huh?"
Damn, that's a bad smear.
It's a bad smear.
Nothing good there.
And then they're like, no, you get used to the smear. After you get rid of the smear, the glass is really the shit.
You can't tell how much of it is one thing or the other.
Yeah.
It's a bad smear.
So, yeah, Kenshi was a wash. Oh, that's straight up. You know what's not a wash? This fucking Disco Elysium Final Cut.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Oh, man. The voice acting adds more than I thought it would.
Nice. Good.
It is, despite the knowledge of it's everything, it is somehow more exhaustive than I was expecting. That game is immaculate. It is as close to a perfect game as I think I've probably ever seen.
Now that it has voice acting?
Now that it has voice acting and you don't die. I literally accidentally red pilled / MGTOW'd a character in the game. And like I didn't realize the sequence of events until I saw it described to me later, which was I was talking to a character and I decided to play Empathy told me that I could play Matchmaker. And I was like, okay, let's play Matchmaker. And I asked the chat if I should do this, and I got like an overwhelming like, no, don't do it. And then I started to do it, and apparently Empathy by Matchmaker, what Empathy meant was to base and red pill this fucking guy.
I see.
And go on like this misogynistic rant about the cock carousel till you get old, etc.
Wow.
And like my character starts to say it, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of this. And the third option is the narration telling you wish there was a back button to get out of the conversation. And when you click on it, it just goes too bad and then leaves you with like the 2 nightmare ones. And I start like panicking and blaming chat. And I go, this was your idea. Now you have to get it out. And it's like, I literally forgot. No, that was my idea. But I just immediately turn around like, no, you guys, it's your fault. Did you fix this?
Wait, so when you go down the dark paths, like, the game acknowledges that you're going down this path, but you're still forced to pick,
and that you may want to leave it,
but you have to choose those options anyway.
Yeah. There's a dialogue thing about some guy in a sandwich where you're just talking about sandwiches, and it demands a overt like political party statement. And if you try and get out of it, it makes fun of you for being a centrist. Right. And then puts you right back at the same thing, and it says pick one of these stupid political things or shut the fuck up. Okay. And it's and having a man tell me that instead of just reading a dialogue, is fucking A+.
You can't be enlightened, huh? It's funny. It's funny because one of the things I'm legitimately curious about is that more than a couple of people have had warnings / like not even warnings as much as, oh man, there are parts in this game that are gonna get really awkward to stream. There's gonna be subject matter that's gonna get weird and really uncomfortable. I wonder how you're gonna deal with it, you know? So I'm prepared for a number of moments and topics to come.
I mean, you played enough of it. It is about the rawest game I have ever heard of. Like, this is not a spoiler. This is one of the first interactions you have in the game. Did you ever meet Kuno?
Kuno was
the little redheaded shithead.
The little kid, the little shit kid.
Throwing rocks at the corpse.
Yep, I did. Yep, did that part. Yep.
So, like, the very first thing that happens when you meet this 10-year-old is that he starts calling you a bunch of homophobic slurs and then screaming at the top of his lungs that you're taking your dick out to rape him in broad daylight to get people to come over and fuck with you. And your options are, like, calm him down or try to punch him in the face.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's about as extreme as content as I've ever seen in a game.
Actual little shit kid dialogue, not cleaned up. Like real shit kid. Yep.
And he's got his little friend behind the
fence
going, escalate, his dick is out, you're afraid. Like, egg him on.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. It was like,
it's the tone setter for just how fucking raw the game can get, which is super raw.
Oh, that fucker behind the fence. Yep. Good shit.
Game's immaculate. Game is, like, bordering on perfect. Now that it has voice acting, dude, How Long to Beat needs to update its shit soon on that game. There is no way that game is 30 hours long now.
Well, I imagine because it's like that was based on someone reading very quickly, you know? Yeah. And now we're in the world of like, no, you have to let it play out. Even if you outread the dialogue, you want to hear how it's said.
Let it play out. Yeah. Game's incredible. Game's stupendous. Game's like a 10 bordering on 11.
Disco Elysium. Final Cut.
If you own Disco Elysium, Final Cut's free. Just download it. Oh, you know what? There is only one problem with the game, but it only really affects people playing the console versions. The controller support is terrible. It's god awful. It is move towards a object of interest and move the analog stick towards it, and then it rumbles, and then hit like the A button to click on it, and it just doesn't work the way that it needs to.
Are there aren't many like speed based moments though, are there?
There are zero speed based moments.
Yeah, so like it's not an issue if you have a fumble selecting something.
No, it's not. Just like calm down and do it again.
Okay.
By the way, Wooly, if you're still interested in going through Disco Elysium yourself on the channel for variations purposes, I'm playing a communist Hobocop.
Okay.
Full communism.
Okay.
Unlocked that shit immediately.
Okay. No promises about how we're gonna go on it. I mean, I'm honestly gonna just do a synthesis of me and Reggie's takes on things, and we'll see where we go. I've started playing out, like, my own save went in one direction, but with both of us contributing, I don't know what it'll be. So
much replay value.
Oh yeah, no, like, absolutely.
It's the only narrative RPG that I could ever, like, with a straight face tell you could probably play this like back to back 5 times and still see new shit.
It's a AAA studio's nightmare because of how much unseen content is in a single playthrough.
It's wild.
And the fact that it shows you like the particular stat that you don't have right here, you know, it like demonstrates right away, like, this is where these other things come in handy. It doesn't just feel like an invisible thing, like, it's not a useless stat in a Souls game or a useless stat in a BioWare game. You know, it's a thing that you can see the conversations that it affects, so you know next time around to fuck with that. Love that.
You're only gonna have, like, you have 4 types of stats, which are your physical, your mental, your intelligence, your sensitivity, your physical prowess, and your hand-eye coordination, basically. And like, you can only have one of those be really good. Like, I ended up going like 4-4-2-2 instead of like 5-4-1-2 or whatever the hell. But like, you will fail almost every check with talents that you're just naturally bad at. And some of those failures are the best things that could happen to you. And some of those failures will be a massive bummer. Like the fact that I've been playing the game for like 9 hours, but because I have terrible endurance, I can't get that fucking body out of the tree.
Right, okay.
I can't do it. I failed the check like 5 times in a row.
I think, though, that like the fact that your character is such a fucking mess and like failure is content here.
Oh,
like,
failure is thematic.
So it feels right and it makes sense and everything is A-okay while you're failing through this whole world. If you're playing any other type of game where you're supposed to be a hero of legend and you're failing these checks, you know.
If you were playing fucking Commander Shepard and you went to do an autopsy and he just puked all over the autopsy table, and then you walk 2 feet and fail to open a dumpster and hurt your arm and then die of a heart attack, you'd be like, this doesn't seem very Commander Shepard at all.
No, that's you know, like, thank God, like, this game is like, no, you are a mess for starters. You know, see if you can pull it back. Yeah. I'm excited. Cool.
Game's great. It's just great. Can't recommend it highly enough to anybody. It's great. Well, I would actually not recommend it to people who can't handle a little bit of moral or political flexibility, because it is determined to mock you and everything that you believe in, no matter what.
You're gonna get at it.
You can't be a reasonable communist. You are building the big communism. because the old communism was personally against you and they fucked you over. So you're just going to make the most anti-person big communist ever.
You go full tanky.
You can go full tanky. You can go full fascist. You can become a reverse white supremacist, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So everything to the furthest corners of the political compass chart.
I had a friend of mine describe that they internalized hyper-capitalism and communism and would choose dialogue options associated with that, to the point where characters in the story were like, that doesn't make any sense.
Being hyper-capitalist and hyper-communist at the same time.
Like, what does that mean? What, are you fucking crazy? What?
Trotsky? China?
I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, game's crazy.
Okay. Interesting.
And let's see, played a lot of Monster Hunter. Hey, guess what? Monster Hunter's really good. That's my week of Monster Hunter. It's a good game. It's a highly quality game. I have a friend of mine who beat it and was able to confirm that yes, in fact, the game just not straight up does not have an ending or an end game currently at all. It's just literally not even there. Like, it ends on a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger is like, check back in 3 weeks for the April update.
That thing is it's moving. I think they announced how many copies sold today? Like
5 million.
5 million. There you go.
One SKU.
Damn.
Like, one SKU, 5 million.
Damn.
Because Japan gets to play it on the Switch. So that thing's gonna crush. That thing's gonna be like probably like 20 million once
Capcom still got Old Faithful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the most confusing timeline switch ever, I did my Fortnite Friday thing. Did you see what happened on Fortnite Fridays, Willie?
No.
I had a surprise special guest in that friend of the show, Susie, aka the Sphere Hunter, was just like, oh shit, cool, want to play duos? And then we spent the whole time talking about how much we wish they put fucking Resident Evil skins in Fortnite as we crushed it on duos.
So that's cool. And you spent your time doing the thing that you explicitly hate about Apex in the game that was specially about doing singles.
I have a response to that I already dealt with, a more smart alecky version of this statement a couple hours ago on Twitter, which is, Wooly, 4% of my total games in Fortnite are multiplayer in a group.
Okay.
The only reason I even played duos or squads last night was because I was literally talking to people and they were like, oh, cool, we could play that also. Let's play that game now. But otherwise, I'm sitting here going, I would like to play this game at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So I can either bug everyone and then not have anyone be available, or I can play solo.
Yeah. But you talk about how much you hate squads, so I had to bring it up.
Yeah, because with Apex, 96% of my time would be with random people squads, which is the problem. If I had a group of friends that were available 24 hours a day to play Apex duos, that would be one thing. But I don't, and I don't think anybody does.
Okay. But yeah, sometimes you're in the mood to play with friends.
On occasion. But that was not the problem that I had with Apex. The problem I had with Apex was that if I wanted to play by myself, I couldn't.
Right.
Not that that sometimes I want to play with friends or not. It's like I genuinely don't understand why this is so hard for so many people to understand.
No, I definitely get it.
It's baffling to me.
For me, it just ended up being like I said, it ended up being a very different experience because like there was a group of people that would just kind of cycle that were online, and I'd just, you know, basically grab two and be like, hey, you guys want to do whatever? And it was just like, you know, at any given point, there was usually one or two people around. And if they weren't, then I'd just be like, okay. And then I wouldn't play, you know. But if
see, there it is. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
When I want to play something, I want to play it regardless of the availability of people around me. If I'm going to get into a game and it becomes, well, you can only play on this date and this date and this date at this between this and this times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck that.
Yeah, it wasn't that restrictive to me where it was a matter of, like I said, it wasn't like certain days, certain times, whatever. There was enough availability that most of the time there were people to play with, but every once in a while when there wasn't, I'd be like, oh, okay. And I'd try it again some other time.
I mean,
that'd be it.
Like, I played the game for 2 hours this morning from 10 a.m. to noon. If you were playing Apex, would you have people that were available from 10 a.m. to noon?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Although it is a holiday, so possibly.
It is?
It's just like, yeah.
Oh, it's Jesus. Yeah.
It's Jesus Day.
Also, and bluntly, I like to play solo so that if when I win, I actually won. I did win a couple games of Apex, but I sure didn't fucking win those games of Apex.
Oh, yeah.
Other people won them for me, for sure.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure you're very familiar with that experience.
Intimately.
What I watched some of those Apex streams.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Oh.
Mm-hmm. I'm throwing my shield down. I'm a block things. That's what I'm gonna do. Although I did end up liking what's her name a bit later on with the dash, the boost, and the missile deploy and stuff. But yeah,
I don't know who that is.
Anyway, the big carries for sure. But I know I get it. Anyway.
Also, like, genuinely, to talk about Fortnite, the infinite budget is like I mentioned it last week, but like stuff changes. I went through the weekly change list and discovered that like every week or two since the game's inception, there has been some kind of map or gameplay change. And like in the limited experience I've had over the past 2-3 weeks, it's fucking super impressive. It's just like I'm jealous of every other game that I play not having this infinite money.
Yes, Pat, Fortnite is supported.
Wait, what is that? What is that?
Yeah, no, it's
I don't know what that emotion is.
It's not surprising, I suppose. It's like I expect everything about it to just be like ridiculous compared to every other video game I've ever played in terms of how much, you know, there is going on and how much money is going into it at any given day.
I suppose the difference on that is that like I have played a bunch of Call of Duties and I play FF14, which is one of Square's moneymakers. And
even by comparison to that,
that money on both of those just goes into a vault. Like you never ever see it come back into the game. You just see it leave. Whereas in this, I'm like, oh no, I see it. 14's really frustrating because 14 makes a ton of money and gets almost none of it.
Well, yeah,
it's super frustrating.
But I also think it's the scale of player difference between both player bases and also the nature of the game. I feel as if Fortnite is a smaller thing. There's like, I'm not sure what the map situation is, but 14 would have more content in general to manage on a regular basis. And it's built to just kind of like be this ever updating series of lores and chapters and single player things going on and whatnot. Whereas Fortnite is just like
I
add
what
to
I
the
mean
shoot bang,
specifically
you know?
is that people that follow 14 for a really long time, particularly its development structure and the like the stuff that comes out patch after patch, like you can tell that the budget has not changed almost at all in like 6-7 years. And meanwhile, you get to look at the like financial statements the Square puts out, where it's like, "Hey, is everyone excited for Final Fantasy 16?" It's literally because FF14 paid for it. And as cool as FF16 looks, as somebody who has played FF14 for like 5-6 years, I would really like for some of that money to go back into the game I play every single day.
I have to say, I was very surprised that, like, I remember I had friends that were big on 11, and then, and I remember,
his dad was an 11 fiend.
So it made sense when they announced that they were going to do another online game. That much I was like, yeah, that figures. But I never would have expected the tail end to be this successful, considering how undethronable World of Warcraft was for, like, you know, the entire middle era of my life. You know, the mid like window of my existence on this planet has been one where World of Warcraft simply sat on the throne, and that's the end of it. Like, why would that change? You know? So, you know, I'm very, very surprised they fucking stuck it out and like actually bled into it and then brought it back from the red.
Well, it's something, it's like, it's the same story as like every single other story in video games, whereas FF14 put out a solid 8 out of 10 product for many years, while World of Warcraft has gotten worse like every single year since like 2007. Or to that, whenever Cataclysm came out, like it has been like over and over, like every single thing I hear about WoW is people going, "Oh, god damn it."
Though, to be fair, I feel as if every friend I had that was into it sounded that way from the jump. It didn't sound like anyone ever was enjoying themselves. They were just doing their dailies and like checking their responsibilities to their guilds on a regular basis, and it was just what you had to do. It was a job. You know, I feel as if it never particularly sounded like fun was being had for a lot of those friends that were in.
There's something real weird to that. Like, there are parts of 14 that is kind of job-like, where I'll log in and I'm like, oh, here comes the grind or whatever. But it's never so bad that I resent it, and at the end of it, I'm at least happy with the thing that I got out of the thing. And like, for example, I have every class to cap in 14, which took a bit. But I'm happy that I did so, because like I like knowing how all the different classes work, and not like know because I read their skills, like actually literally know how they all work at cap. And it's not like there's no resentment to that, and there's the understanding, particularly of like when I hear somebody complain or ask a favor, I now have like more context for that. Like my pal Strident keeps asking me, dude, when the AoE is coming down, can you please not move away from the group early, because I need to spread ad load to the rest of the party, and if you move too far away, I can't do it. Like, hearing that 10 times in a row is one thing, but actually having to feel that frustration myself personally because I can't get like deployment tactics off is something altogether different. But like, I have a friend of mine who shall remain nameless, who I was on Discord with yesterday, who was not letting himself play Monster Hunter until he finished grinding out like the rarest mount in the entire game. which has taken him weeks of what's called diadem farming, and it is like the most soul crushing shit in the universe. It is as boring as MMO shit ever gets. And he got it, and it is a hideous looking pterodactyl.
I think Min just got a special mount, and he was very proud of the amount of work it took.
Any idea what it looked like?
No idea. I didn't inquire further.
Because there's a ton of those. So, like, for example, right? Every Sunday night, barring holidays, I hang out with some buddies of mine for a couple hours, and we do like a relatively normal difficulty raid content called an extreme trial, so that we can get fancy shiny little dragon mounts or dog mounts or whatever the fuck. And at the end of the expansion, if you have all of them, you get a really gigantic super one that looks really fancy.
Okay.
And that's every Sunday. And it's both an excuse to hang out with the same group of 7 people and shoot the shit, and also do this thing that takes fucking forever, right? And so, like, right now we're on, like, I think 80 clears of Emerald Weapon, and we're pretty fucking done with Emerald Weapon. I'm sick of Emerald Weapon's fucking music and of that fight, but I'm still want to play that shit every single Sunday with my pals. It's one of those things where it's like,
wow.
If you don't have the group that you actually care about, you're not gonna stay along in a game like this. It's the community aspect. You need 99 tokens if you don't get the drop. The drop is a 5% drop chance.
Damn. Okay.
And you need, I think 7 of them to get the final one. And you need all of them. We did it for A Realm Reborn. We did it for Heavensward.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's just like the moment it's that number and it's not an action game or a game with like, yeah. It just the moment the genre shifts to, I don't know. It just that's wild. If I'm thinking,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Wolves. Before Heavensward, or Christ, before Stormblood, you couldn't buy it with tokens. You just had to get the drop from a 5% chance.
Okay. Because
they added the tokens, and everyone went, "Oh, thank God, you can stop at 99." I have a friend of mine. She cleared Sophia Extreme 238 times. Because she wanted the goddamn mount before the tokens came out.
boy, okay.
And to answer a question in the chat, which is absolutely vital, how long does a clear take? Anywhere between 8 and 16 minutes.
Yeah.
She was nuts. She should have taken her 99 and stopped, and then 2 months later they would have just let you buy the fucking thing.
There's some genres where if you told me you fought a boss 80 times, I'd just be like, yeah, of course, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there's somewhere.
How many times do you fight Fume Knight?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
You know, but I just to date, by the way, every other, that's still my number one. That's still the longest I've ever had to fight any Souls boss in anything. All this time later,
it might be the same for me also.
So
like it's that's a rough one.
So it ends up in some cases it makes sense, but I guess I don't know. When I think of that, it just like if I think of like but when I think of like RPG bosses and like traditional, you know, any sort of traditional RPG sense, that it ends up being like, oh man, like just like 80 repetitions of like menu selection fighting. I kind of die a little bit inside, but
hold on. MMO
but it's more active than that.
Fighting.
It's more active than that. I know, because there's a lot of positioning and it's cooldown based and stuff.
There's 2 parts to that. One is, you ever go gem farming in Monster Hunter?
I mean, if I did, I don't remember.
Because you can definitely fight like fucking drop rate for like certain gems is like 2%.
Sure.
On a Monster Hunter fight. Like that can be just as fucked up. But the other thing is that because it is cooldown based and positioning based, at around clear number 25, assuming a relatively competent group, that fight is internalized.
Mm-hmm.
That is a series of steps.
I mean,
and
any given boss fight takes less than that to memorize what's going on.
No, I mean you can time it on a fucking pendulum.
Okay, all right.
The like boss fights in 14, like from the initial pull, it is this many seconds before this mechanic. It is this many seconds before this mechanic.
Okay.
Like it is a solved problem in most cases.
Anything else with your week?
Yeah, I started watching Captain Falcon and the Winter Man.
Yeah. How's that?
It's not as good as WandaVision.
Okay. I haven't started it yet.
It's like it's fine, but it's not as good as WandaVision. And there's part of it that I was a little confused about, because there were some scenes that were very weirdly cut together, and I'm like, is that guy dubbed over? That's weird. I think they had to do a bunch of reshoots because of coronavirus.
That would make sense.
There is a
everything
couple
shut
lines
down
of
production.
Dialogue. There's a couple lines of dialogue in the first episode or something where it's a bunch of people stealing vaccines that just doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
That I think the storyline used to be about a pandemic.
Okay.
That they then were like, nuh-uh.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like 3 or 4 scenes that just seem like this can't be whatever. And there are characters with like hoods up so that like you can't see that their hair is different, because I think it's a reshoot.
Okay. I'm gonna crack that open at some point, probably later in the season, if anything. I did watch that. They also dropped a trailer for the Black Widow movie, and it's all like, yo, her suit's white now. Check it out. And it's like a whole lot of Black Widow stuff, which we'll see how that goes. I could take it or leave it. Yeah, I could take it or leave it. But they did one thing that I like. The title drop in the trailer plays the leitmotif of the Avengers theme, but with vocals on it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, ooh, I like a good remix of a thing that I know that sound good.
I don't know, man. It's like, let's take a character with a fully completed arc and give us a side story in which they can make no personal growth at all.
Yeah, let's see.
Like, I don't get it.
Taskmaster is there,
but he looks like shit.
But maybe it'll be good. Maybe I don't. I like Taskmaster in general.
Stuff, Taskmaster might be the only design that I'm personally familiar with that I look at and go, they ruined it.
You want big dumb skeleton man?
He is a big dumb. He is wearing a straight up Halloween skeleton mask,
just like Cap. Yeah. He's had different outfits, but the absolute ridiculous one just does lean into the hilariousness of it. So
the only way they can save it is if he pulls off his skeleton themed helmet and there is a big dumb skull underneath.
Or the first encounter is with a really ghetto outfit, and then later on it becomes the big movie one.
No, is he not a skeleton because of China?
What?
Oh no.
Hold on. Is that true?
That's possible.
Is that true?
Is it true? I don't know, but is it possible? Absolutely. China doesn't like skeletons. This is a known factor.
Well, I like skeletons.
I love skeletons. I am in a unfortunate skeleton-loving household.
Neither of us love skeletons as much as certain other people do.
As she does.
But, sure. Damn. Well, anyway. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Cool.
That's it for me. You want to check out more? This is twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. It's Disco, Fortnite, and Monster Hunter this week.
There you go. Okay. I was going to say over there, what's going on the schedule. All right. Cool.
Hey, dude. Hit that boy. What's up?
Over
Not
here.
you. I'm talking to my dog, by the way.
Yep. That's what I assumed. Over here, had a pretty busy week of a couple different things, actually. We did an episode of Get Into Fighting Games, The Newcomers. It was really fun. Sat down with Punch Mom, and basically she touched Persona for the first time, Persona 4 Ultimax, that is, and really touched a fighting game for like probably the second time in her life.
Oh man,
touched
the newcomers.
Touched an arcade stick for the first time, really. And yeah, it really was just like, all right, you've never done any of this. Let's go. And it was a really good time. Reggie and I were just sitting by and, providing a little bit of advice here and there. Let's learn a little bit about how to do things, how to move, how to press buttons. Let's try to not overwhelm. And we kind of just ended up with a very fun, like, beginner's walk through a fighting game for the first time. And it went so much better than I expected. I was really, really happy with how it came together. And yeah, I super want to do this again when I can in the future. Like, just have these special episodes where, we take people through just literally the first time ever touching a game and just providing a little bit of advice as to, like, here's something that will help you, like, keep your eyes on having fun and not getting too overwhelmed by everything else that's happening. Did
you crush her into the dirt to establish dominance?
We didn't fight. That's not the goal. The computer on easy is more than enough of a test of execution and learning things on the very first time you've played a game. We don't need to jump online or play against anybody. Like, that's not what it's about. Yeah, well,
most important part of learning fighting games is fortifying your spirit.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm trying to get people in here and show them that a lot of what they're worried about when they say, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to start, I don't know how to get in, I want to show you that a lot of what you're worried about is not, and you don't need to be. You don't need to overthink it. You just need to pick it up, look at something cool, and start pressing buttons on it. Like, and I feel like this will hopefully, kind of show you that, like, there's a lot of questions that can be floating, but, like, you can really just jump in to the jump in the pool and start seeing what happens. It was a lot of fun. That's going to be coming out a little bit later. And yeah,
just
in the end,
about how your method seems to be actually teaching people how to play, when all that's in the back of my head is climb back up the fucking cliff, Kazuya.
Sure, yes,
just climb back up.
But that
tigers.
But there's a really, you're not like, that literally does have a time and place that exists, right? But that exists.
Yeah, that time and place is as a child.
That time and place is when the person says, I want to play competitively. The moment that someone says that, like, they're in it to, like, get really good and they want to play, and they want to, like, get in and really start, like, going through the ranking, the ladder, as it were, that's when you go, all right, now we're going to fucking toss you off and see what happens, But
I don't know, Wooly. I've been having a lot of fun crushing child's dreams.
Yeah, that's
Battle
fine.
Royale.
But I'm just talking about something where people are scared of the genre, and before you even get into the fun of winning against other people in a fight, you have to figure out whether you even like what is happening on the screen. You know, it's easy to forget that like there's a part of this where it's just like you have to like the video game before you get into, yo, how hard can I win though? You know?
You know what? I think there's something poisonous in my brain because you're describing like the joy of victory, and I'm like, no, that's not right. I'm not playing games to see the joy of victory. I'm playing games to see the agony of the
defeat.
loss of others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's way more. That's where the good stuff is. That like, oh man, like winning is something, but other people losing, oh man, that's the stuff right there.
Yeah. So, you don't really get to understand that like there's the people who like want to climb up the mountainside, and then the people who are just, let's have some fun, and I think too as well, like we walked away from it and yeah, she was kind of like, I was expecting that to be a lot harder, a lot more intimidating. I was expecting to be lost a lot more of the time, and it went great, so getting to fighting games, the newcomers, that's popping. That was a experiment success. Very happy with how that went. Something else that is going on, the Best of Paper Mario 1000-Year Door, the Azuna cut is now up on
how long is that?
The channel. It's part 1 of 2, and I think it's about 3 hours.
Yeah, that's all right. That's a chunky game.
It's been condensed, and it's not just a best of. It's literally new content, new scenes, new inserted like moments of like in-game visuals and animation and things like that, like bits everywhere. It's better than a best of. It's incredible. So I'm, like upon realization of how much new shit was in it, I'm like, yeah, no, this is hashtag the Azuna cut, so full credit. Azuna did an amazing job. She killed it, and go check out part 1 of 2 of the Best of Paper Mario, which dropped. Reggie and I sat down. We started It Takes Two, the latest game from Hazelight. And, you should remember, of course, Mr. Fatass and Fuck the Oscars.
I saw that's in the game.
And Brothers and A Way Out. So this time around, it's a co-op adventure, just like the others, but you are playing as a couple that is on the outs. And
getting divorced, right?
Exactly. But you've got a kid. And it's very, very good. It's much longer than their other games so far. I feel as if each game they've made has maybe doubled in length from the last. But maybe
Brothers was really short.
Brothers was really short. I feel like A Way Out was medium, and now I feel like now it's it's about like 12 or so is the estimation on it. It took us a while to get to chapter 5 of 9. So, but yeah, fantastic, really, really fun. Lots of great little moments of dialogue, and also just some terribly annoying characters, and deliberately annoying, I should say. But like a really fun mechanic where you're both doing your little platforming, but you have like usually like paired off abilities that switch from level to level, Mm-hmm. So sometimes it might be he's got a nail and she's got a hammer, right? And then you find ways to work that together. Other times it's more about like you have a positive magnet and he's got a negative magnet, so they find little ways to kind of like have these little interactions work so that you're platforming in different ways together. Very, very cute and cool. And of course, like, the whole time you're doing it, and there's also these like fun little references to different genres that pop up. There's without spoiling too much, they do shit that I really like. They do shit that Reggie really liked. There's times where they're like, yo, let's like have a little like fun moment where we play a different genre of game,
What do you think the likelihood that the story's going to end in a murder-suicide is?
Unfortunately low. Because
man,
that'd
be wild.
Yeah. It is the most like hyper exaggerated and ridiculous form of couples therapy I've ever seen. And there are times where it's interesting because as it plays out, like each character has their personality, just like A Way Out, and you have these little moments where you can play competitive against each other, little versus games. And you start to kind of see like it starts to shape up like, okay, well, this is why things are going bad in the relationship. This is why things are, kind of miscommunication is happening. But you can kind of feel who's more at fault. You can kind of look at it and be like, it's not exactly a 50-50 problem here,
I've spoken with a lot of people in my life that are in the educational or professional aspect of psychology about couples and whatnot, and it's like, it's a relationship problem, right? It's about your relationship, but usually there's somebody who's like more at fault. Like, let's all be real. Not all problems are equal.
So, a long time ago, I read a book called The Ballad of the Sad Cafe, and in it, there's a line that says, in every relationship, there's the lover and the loved. And that defines everything about how it plays out. And that is an interesting one because I feel like when you start...
Of a broad stroke.
It's a very broad stroke, but when you squint for it, you can see it, I think. And I feel like I've seen some friendships, some friends in relationships where that is way more obvious than others, I
have absolutely seen this scenario, but I would not say that it's like a hard and fast rule.
It's not necessarily, because I can think of...
We've seen it. I know what you're talking about.
I can think of at least like 2 exceptions where both people were properly infatuated, but in a lot of cases there was some degree of asymmetrical affection going on, at least from the outside, right? You never know what people are, what kind of relationship people have.
What dank shit's going on behind the scenes.
So you can't assume to know, but just in terms of perception. But yeah, no, in this particular case, I think you're playing the game out and you're seeing how things shape up, and you're like, yeah, you can kind of like, there's definitely, and I have to finish it obviously to get to the end of it, but so far you're kind of like, ooh, there's someone's a little bit more at fault here so far, but it's really good.
I hope it's not quite so obvious as if only you weren't stooping the secretary, etc., because that becomes cut and dry.
Well, that's the problem. Literally the jokes I'm like we're making is like, okay, so this like magical thing is trying to get your relationship back together. This whole ridiculous fairy gumdrop process, but what if this is not a relationship where they should get back together?
What if it's like, Jerry, how did I get chlamydia?
Or
did I get it?
Or like, hey, magical therapist being, she beats the shit out of me. That's not okay. What are you doing? Like,
I didn't mow the lawn on time and she came at me with a golf club. I don't think there's going to be a solution here.
So, but all that aside, in general, it is a fucking solid co-op game where you both have to, allow each other to progress with your own special abilities. And of course there's lots of like, get your act together, what the fuck are you doing, obviously figure your shit out, lots of fun. And like, it cannot be played outside of co-op. It is only playable with another person. So Hazelight doing what they do best, specializing in couch co-op.
Mm-hmm.
I
Brothers
appreciate...
didn't, but it felt like co-op with yourself, if that makes any sense.
Yes, yeah, it's true. It's much less so in Brothers than it is in the others, but they've clearly like put the gauntlet down and said like, this is what our studio is about. You know, it's about couch co-op, and I if someone's doing it, then God bless, because it's not a genre that's particularly thriving, and it has not been since practically the 16-bit era. You know.
Dude, that game would be so fucking awesome if like you get to the end and the fairy pixie person is like, yeah, no, this relationship's doomed. I guess you should get divorced.
Like, yeah.
Like, wow, you guys came all this way and did all this magic bullshit, and you're still insufferable fucking assholes. Well, it's time to give up.
Yeah. I remember how like a big part of like Min being excited when Gears of War came out was about the fact that like it was a couch co-op game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how it was like, man, yeah, like even that long ago, it was still like, oh fuck, nice. Someone's making a game where you can play with your friends. Like, you know, it's not just going full on single player or full on online and then no in between. Mm-hmm. You know. And I mean, considering how a lot of games like will come out with a split screen and like the frame rate will just go to shit, or they won't figure out how to optimize it. You know, exactly. Like you kind of look and go like, yeah, like as we go further, as machines get more powerful, it feels as if like not everyone is looking to put the work in to optimize having a split screen render look good, you know? So I appreciate the dedicated co-opness. It Takes Two is great. Went back to Ultra Kill because I never ended up finishing off the chapter 1.
Yeah, I didn't either. Mark II kicked my fucking ass.
Yeah, went back to it. I stopped after V2 last time. And then Hikita dropped a message and went, hey, by the way, you know, like there's more to that chapter. And I was kind of just like thinking like, oh, well, I guess I'll pick it up, you know, especially if it comes out of early access at some point with the whole thing. And he was like, well, every chapter is going to be updated into the game as a self-contained thing. And it won't be out of early access until all the chapters are done. And I was like, oh, shit, that's actually early access.
Yeah, it feels like old-fashioned, like shareware, like knee deep in the dead, and then
later. He's making it, but it's like it's just like the other chapters are not done yet, but what you're getting is, you know, like a fully playable chapter there. So I was like, oh fuck, okay, well then in that case, you know, let's go back to it, and I did, and took a second for me to warm back up and figure out what I was doing, and also just like, of course, there was a lot of issues with me playing on controller. I remember that I had to sort out, but I figured them out, and I got back in, and it was rough. But then I was able to make it after warming up a little bit, and it's of course fucking incredible. Ultra Kill continues to be just like badass in terms of like it's got like a style meter and it's first person.
It lives up to its incredible title.
It really does, and what happened was between last time I played it and now, I got the new computer, so Steam cloud saves were uploaded, and I was able to resume from where I left off. But not every setting carried over, and I didn't quite realize that had happened. So I continued through the game playing, and I remember, he messaged me and mentioned that like auto aim doesn't carry over on the cloud save for some reason. It just it's built different, whatever it is about it. So it was off, which is like the aim correction for like, you know, for when you're playing on pad. And so I just went through the rest of the game without it, and made things a bit harder until I got to the final boss, and it was fucking brutal. and everyone will get to see me spending what might have, it felt like an hour. It could have been 40 minutes. It was many tries. It took a long time to overcome the final fucking boss of that thing. It was incredible, but it definitely hit a point where I was literally like, I can feel that, like, there's points where I'm like in Sekiro, for example, where I'm like fighting a really hard boss and I'm like, okay, I know I can do this. I just need to like get good and get my brain in the right place.
Focus. I just need to make 2 or 3 less mistakes than the last time.
Exactly. But in this case, I could feel it where I'm like, oh, I know my aim is subpar to what the exam is asking of me.
Oh.
I know that. So I'm trying to figure out...
You're not making mistakes, it's that you're failing to complete, like, bare minimums.
So I have to figure out other solutions from the multiple ways that you can handle this regularly if your aim isn't dog shit. Now, full disclosure, if I had turned that setting back on to the way I was playing it before, it probably would have been fine. But in the end, I brute forced it on controller without the aim option on, and managed to do it. I fucking did it. I really wanna say thank you. I appreciate you joining my impromptu crusade that is playing the New Blood published shooters with controllers against the expressed desires of their CEO and developers. Yes. I don't know, in the New Blood CEO, New Blood CEO man never came to message me or troll me about anything, so I'm still in the clear on that. But Hikita, the dev, did show up, and at the end of the day, I would like to think... I would like to think of it like this, right? Sure, most people who pop this game in are going to play it as intended with the mouse and keyboard. But there will be those that don't. Allow me to
They have controller support in the game.
They do. Allow me to be your QA guinea pig for the person who who buys this but wants to play it on a pad.
When I was playing Dusk, I got to the final area of Dusk, and the final encounter just completely broke, and none of the triggers worked. And I messaged Dave about it. I'm like, what happens with that? And he's like, I don't know, lol. We didn't fully test that room on a controller because who uses a controller?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thanks. Great. Thanks, Dave.
This is the feeling, and we know it's there. This is the sentiment. But if it is supported and it's in the game, someone's going to use it, and I'll be that person, and I'll go through it knowing that this is a moment where they're like, yeah, we just wanted you to aim with the mouse on that trigger, dude. Like, that's not meant to be you juggling your thumbs off of the sticks to get this working. But whatever, we did it. I made it work.
There should be a thing when you start that says, like, real ultra killers use a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Like real Yakuza use a gamepad.
Yakuza use a gamepad. Exactly. Totally. Just fucking throw it in there and let people know. But yeah, that was really fun. And then the same debacle continued into the next game, which I was trying to schedule Ultra Kill and Ghost Runner for the same day.
Oh man.
Let me tell you
fucking
about
Ghost Runner.
Ghost Runner, dude.
Oh, yeah, tell me about Ghost Runner.
Did you touch it? I
already know, but tell me again.
Did you touch? Okay. Now, how did you touch it?
I don't remember. Let me look. Let me go and check while you talk.
Because let me tell you what happened. I saw the announcement for this a while ago, looked incredible, bought it immediately, and then when the time came and I was like, you know what, let's schedule it. I saw it was on console, and I saw it was on PS4, downloadable on PS5. So I said, fuck it, let's get that and let's play. Let's try that out.
This is definitely controller footage. Yeah, this is oh man.
Okay. So you play, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I boot up the game on PlayStation and I begin playing it that way. And within seconds, like if you see the archive footage, within seconds, I'm like, oh, this feels wrong. This feels like it's fighting me because it intends for me to use a mouse, right?
It feels like they built the whole game for mouse and keyboard, and then added controller support.
But hold the thought, right? Because there's a little twist at the end of the story here. So I'm playing through it on the PS4, and then I'm like, yeah, this is like, I can tell that this is not intended, right? And the game asks you to do things really fast. It asks you to turn very quickly, and to handle very fast Mirror's Edge style platforming into combat, back into platforming, and you got to be on top of that, right? Okay. So it was weird, and I showed people that, like, I implore, like, everyone, hold your horses. Just I demonstrated.
I remember being like in this situation where the controller acceleration is like super fast, but it
yes.
needs to be, but it's still too fast.
So then I start changing the acceleration around, and I start seeing how fucking, like, okay, it gets better if you slow it down so that you can be more precise, but it's still fighting you, right? And I'm trying to do tight circles, and there's times where literally the circle stops. It's just, there's a dead zone practically that you're not able to configure. And I'm like, that's weird, right? So then I'm like, all right, I feel as if this is demanding mouse level accuracy. What if, though? And everyone goes, no, don't do it. And I'm like, what if, though? And I reach into the drawer behind me and I pull out the Tactical Assault Commander, aka the Abomination, and we fucking go in. Now, I bought the Abomination, the hoary half controller, half mouse thing. And to be honest, at the end of the day, goofs aside, I literally never used it once. I bought it, I shook it at the camera, everyone got scared, and then I shoved it in a drawer and never used it. So I'm like, let's actually plug this in for once and see what happens here, right? The fucking weirdest, because as I showed before, all the face buttons get placed where R1 is, or L1 is, excuse me, and then the mouse ends up being the other shoulder buttons, and then you have to figure out that whole thing. It's wild. It's crazy, right? It's more nuts than the actual simple hybrid solution of holding a controller in one hand and a mouse in the other. Like, it's wackier than that because it moves all the shit over.
Seems like the worst of all worlds.
So then I try running a couple games of that still on the PS5, and like I managed to have better aiming with that solution. So I'm able to get past a couple of those tutorial fights and like go like, okay, no, this is doable, but it's still fighting me. And I prove it, and I'm like, let me move the mouse around in circles and show you. And again, moving the mouse in circles, and you see it stop, then start circling, and then stop, and then it won't tighten up. It just won't go precise, And I'm like, man, it maybe it's just looking for like analog stick usage here, but wow, that's so weird, And I end up playing, and I get through the intro part, and then it gets to like you go through the platforming tutorial, and you get to another area where you do like a wall running tutorial practically. And it's not working because every time you try to look sharp to the left or right to get that wall running shit done, it's like, nope, you can't aim it accurately quickly enough to get it where it needs to be. Like, I'm having an issue with it, right? And then it's like, oh, give Reggie a shot. And I was like, yeah, no, by all means. So Reggie tries it, and he goes, oh, whoa, yeah, okay. Like, this is not what I thought it was from looking at the way you're playing it. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty fucking... And he's like, yeah. And then we're back on normal controller at this point, right? Yeah. Abomination goes away, and he's like, yeah, he's having trouble with it too. I'm like, man. So we just kind of... And like, at first, it's like fun in the video, and we're going on about the Abomination. Then we hit this wall of like, yeah, I can't aim properly with the thumbstick. It's just not working. So we kind of just go, all right, let's just stop here, because this is a moment where if we weren't streaming our LP recording process, we would have just went, let's figure out what's going on and then come back to this later.
It's interesting. I didn't have this much problem with the analog movement. Like, I had problems where its sensitivity's too high and it was clearly designed for a mouse, but I didn't have this dead zone issue you're describing.
Let me get there. So this is the point where we would just stop the recording. No one would ever see it. It'd be done. But we're live. This is how we do it. Everyone
You're
sees
live.
the mess
Yeah,
now.
I mean,
Okay. We flaccid fucking call, just tap out of the video, because we're like, if the tutorial is an issue with controls here, then pull the fucking plug, right? And this is, again, the PlayStation version. Shut it down. We do the whole thing. Everything's fine. Great. All right. In the meantime, I'm installing the PC version in the background. Reggie goes home later on that night. I boot up the PC version, and I'm like, all right, we can just play with mouse and keyboard and do whatever. I'm like, wait, hold on a second. Let me plug in the controller. And I turn my controller on.
Let's see if it's the same.
Xbox controller, right? Standard, Xbone, whatever. Go in. Fucking flawless. Like, no issues whatsoever playing with just the Xbox controller. Tracking, dead zone, sensitivity, ability to smoothly aim at a target, kill him, and then move to the next one, or aim at the wall, all of that shit, not a single problem. Like, the thing with where Titanfall has a bunch of different ways that you can choose how the accuracy works on the thumbstick and how to accelerate and all that, it's in one that works for the game. And literally, there are options that are on the PC that don't exist on the console. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And the answer is, the port of the game is fucking trash by comparison. It is a different... It is a port that has a different setting, that has different control settings, different analog sensitivity that you can't modify, and it feels completely different on PC. Night and day.
That sucks.
I caught back up to where we were struggling with in less than 10 minutes. No problem.
Yeah, because, like, when we started this, I'm like, I think this, like, I played on with an Xbox controller on PC, and, like, the camera is still, like, really sensitive, and it swings around too quickly for my taste.
Yeah.
And it is obviously made for mouse and keyboard, translated to a controller. But, like, the problems you were describing seem so much more extreme than what I ran into.
Right? There's points where I'm doing, you know, when you're like, so you're in the tutorial where you're doing the platforming section and you have to jump on like little appearing blocks that are like bouncing you around, and trying to move both the thumbstick or the fucking abomination mouse to line it up properly to jump and land on the next thing. And it would like, there'd be times when I'm turning and then it just stops, right? In midair, and I'm like, what is happening? Worthless. So as soon as I switch it over, it's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. And this is a game that plays like a first-person shooter version of Katana Zero, so you have to like you have to dodge bullets constantly.
When I was looking at my own controller footage, I found a bit where I'm trying to reflect a bullet and I died like 40 times in a row, trying to parry back like multiple bullets in a row before I just decided to jump around them.
So
like, it demands precision.
It turns out that the 3D maneuver gear was busted. It turns out the fucking game itself just feels way worse on console. And I don't know what it's like on like Xbox or anything, but fucking buyer beware. The PC version has more options and feels better and allows you to actually fucking play with a controller no problem.
That sucks.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it again sometime in the future and play it properly. And that like abomination fucking video is... You know, whatever. It's there somewhere, but it's not an accurate, like, or rather, I didn't know what was happening until I switched to the PC version. So I'm giving the game like a lot of credit that I shouldn't be, now that I know how awful that felt. You know?
I wonder if it was outsourced or if they just didn't care as much about the PS4 version.
I don't know. I don't know. But just anyone who's looking into Ghost Runner, just be aware of that. This is the opposite of like the PC port problem, where it's like here, it's like, no, this was the lead platform, and then it was not intended for controllers, but it still worked fine when on the original platform, and then the PlayStation one just feels like shit. So yeah, that will be back to rectify that at some point in the future, but it's crazy how different it is, you know.
That's
weird.
depressing.
Weird.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who pick that up on PS4 and like, why is this game so bad? Just.
I mean, now I'm like gonna pay way more attention to that now that that's a thing, because like
that's not the kind of thing I would expect to change between different versions.
Yeah, but I also like when I felt issues like that in the past, like for example Titanfall, you then go to options and try to find your own version of it because it had different acceleration settings, you know?
Yeah, because maybe the default for whatever platform is going to be different.
Exactly. So at bare minimum, I would imagine, oh, this feels weird to me. Let me fix it in the configs until it's going to be fine. But there you just didn't have anything. And in this case you do, you know? Weird one. But that's Ghost Runner. Yeah, more on that.
Play it on PC if you can. Can I hold you there right now? The baby is barking at me. I think he needs to take a shit, and I'd rather have him do it outside.
No problem.
So I'll be back in 5-10 minutes.
BRB. Okay. So yes, moving things along real quick. One last thing to bring up was a pretty random surprise. Actually, I was not expecting, but did get a package in the mail. Large box came, and in it were a number of Street Fighter the miniature game boxes from that Kickstarter from years ago.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I jumped in on that like a while ago, and I I forgot all about it. I didn't know what was happening, and eventually, it was one of those Kickstarters I kind of like, I remember when it got announced and Angry Joe announced it, and there was a number of like expansions and stuff, and I was like, yeah, cool.
Oh God, that's right, Angry Joe announced this.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down to support this. Sounds cool. And then I kind of just forgot what was happening, and I wasn't really keeping up to date with it, so I didn't know. Sounds like there was some troubles and delays and things for a while, because years passed, I believe. But eventually, the box got here, and in it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes. So there's like an initial box with the World Warriors, well, sort of, most of them, and then another box with like Akuma and Bison in it, and then like expansion boxes for Alpha, Third Strike, 4, 5, all the different characters. And by the end, it's a pretty complete roster. Like, they have almost everybody there. I don't think they had like, I don't remember seeing like Sodom or like Birdie or some of the, some weirdos, but they have most
of the losers.
Yeah, but they have most iconic characters in there. Third Strike box in particular has, it's got like Makoto and Q and stuff. So I didn't play the game because it just arrived. I just have these boxes and I got to figure out where to, like, what to do with the space and putting them out and stuff. But at a glance, there's a card game. There's some boards, stuff included. I can't really speak to the game itself because I haven't played it with the cards, and I don't know what that's like. Hopefully I'll get a chance to. But the figures themselves are, to be perfectly honest, a range of qualities that drastically depends on who you're looking at. So some of them are incredible, right? In particular, a lot of the first series, a lot of the stuff, like Sagat looks incredible. Like, some of them look like best. I'd say some of them go from like best amiibo quality, like the good amiibos, and then they range down to
the other amiibos.
What's wrong with your face?
Bootleg shit.
Yes.
Twitter account.
And I mean, I'm looking at like the Third Strike box, for example, that I have here, and I'm looking at them, and it's like, okay, so the Third Strike box has Makoto, Alex, Q, and Ibuki. Ibuki is fantastic, right? They all have details so that the base they're standing on is a part of their stage, so that's pretty cool. Ibuki's fantastic. She's throwing out kunai. She's got her little raccoon, Tanuki rather, and no problems. It seems like all the paint apps in general are fine.
She should call those her raccoonai.
Yeah.
Call me Capcom.
There you go. It seems like for most characters the paint apps are fine, but it seems like the decals are where some of the wonk comes in. And like, so right above that you got Q, who's fine. The build is actually quite good. It's very cool. And his jacket's a little light colored, but in the end it's a good ass Q like minifigure. But his eyes are too low on his mask and they look weird. Right? So nice. Everything, but he's kind of hidden by the hat, so you can kind of, that's okay. Alex has a perfect body and his head looks like he's kind of dying. His face looks like it's melting.
Yeah. That's what
He
I'm
has
talking about.
old man face. His eyes are too close together because the decals were just placed way too close to his nose, and the plastic is kind of falling apart on that. But the rest of him looks good. And then Makoto, same kind of thing where it's like she's fine. Her eyes are not, they don't look like Makoto's eyes, but they're okay. But then she has no mouth at all, you know. So
Yeah.
they're extraordinarily hit or miss.
Notably, mute and hyper quiet Makoto.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I mean, like I said, like the ones that stand out, that look amazing, like Sagat looks incredible. You know, like some of the Bison looks great. Some of them look really good, but some of them just don't. And I think, like, I don't know, maybe it was production issues, maybe it's the challenge of mass producing or getting the artists to figure out how to do this in a way where a production line can do it good. I'm not too sure, because I know that like the moment you add paint apps and decals to like any sort of mass produced figure, like it gets much more complicated in how you have to plan things out and how detailed you're willing to go, because anyone that like, yeah, you can never get to a point where everyone's doing it by hand for each one of them. Like that's not practical for mass production. But yeah, in the end, it's a bit weird, you know. And I feel like you have a half looking awesome collection of minifigures and a half very bootleg looking collection of minifigures. But in most cases, the bodies are great. It's mostly just the faces, to be perfectly fair. You know?
You got a bunch of Butterface figures.
You got about half of your figures, maybe 30% to. I'd have to look over them again, but there's a number of them where you're like, yeah, Butterface, you know, melty face. In some cases, the face is fine, but the eyes are in the wrong place. You know, they're just a little like off a little bit.
That's such a bizarre statement to hear ever. The eyes are in the wrong place.
It's just,
eyes are supposed to go in a really specific place.
Yeah. It's the you know, the machine touched it and put it in the wrong place. And that's how it came out. So, you know, I'll try to play the game at some point and figure out how that works. And you know, it's got, I can see the cards. The cards have nice art on them, and they seem to be, you know, on some cool stages as well. So there could be a fun game inside here to play. But just a heads up for now. Looking at the full list, it seems as if at least the first group is pretty solid, and then you getting into the expansions, it's dicey. So the Ibuki looks fucking fantastic, though. You know, that's the thing. Like, when they're good, they're good. But and I've also like, I'm someone who nowadays I'd much rather just like get one big detailed statue, like a first four figures thing or something like that. But to be honest, but there is a game here to play and try out, so it's more than just a collectible in that regard. I'll let you guys know. But that's my initial feeling on it. Anyway, yeah, if you would like to tune in for more LP shenanigans, we've got Disco Elysium starting this week. It Takes Two as well. We got at least another 1 or 2 sessions of that to go. And of course, Ghost Runner is going to come back, get into fighting games as well. All of that for now is on the schedule, and we will be continuing with that. I announced it with the schedule last week, of course, but Yakuza is on hiatus for now, as Little V is taking time away from all work. He's made some personal announcements. If you'd like to find out more, you can go look to his channel about that. But we'll be back with anything relating to that when, you know, I'll let you know in the future what's going on. But for now, that's on hiatus. So
I do have one quick 5-minute thing I want to go over, which I forgot to talk about, which was a game I was going to cover this past week and this week that I'm not going to anymore, despite the fact that I really like it. and that's Outriders, which is in a perpetual state of being on fire. It is a fucking mess, the state that game is in right now. It is
I heard the
always
servers
online
are great.
game like Diablo that is enjoying the exact same thing that happened to Diablo 3 when it came out, which is it sold millions of copies and is just at best, hopefully you don't crash out on the servers in one play session.
Heard the servers are popping off.
And the co-op, which ostensibly the servers are for, constantly crashes you out. And in my single player attempts, constant crashes as well as terrible performance compared to its own demo.
So you were going to take a look, but now you're no longer going to take a look.
Me and Paige did a stream on that on the 1st, and her stream was proper sponsored, and the fucking full 40% of it was just sitting at the login screen hoping the fucking thing to authenticate and crashing out of each other's games as we tried to play co-op with Eli.
Yeah.
Just like, wow. The marketing team did not correctly talk to the fucking live team, because the live team could have told them, maybe don't schedule like that. Dude, there's a screenshot of like the Outriders Twitch page, and it's like at the top is Carnage, and then a couple down is Peach Saliva, and then there's 30, 40, and literally every single screen is just staring at the login screen authenticating.
Damn.
For hours.
It's almost like if you were supposed to do like a sponsored stream for a DC convention, and then for the first 10-15 minutes none of the videos on the site work and nothing is working, and you just have to kind of sit there and twiddle your thumbs as you are on sponsored video waiting to see what will happen.
That sounds highly specific.
Almost.
It's a bummer because the game's really cool and I really enjoyed the demo, and the people who don't have performance problems are having a lot of fun.
And then they don't fucking pay you. Anyway.
Oh, really? Wow. Hypothetically.
We're hypothetically sorting out what the fuck is going on. Hypothetically.
But yeah, that game's a fucking mess. It's like, in a couple weeks I'll go back to it maybe, but like right now it is broken. It's just broken.
Damn. All right.
Hey, could you like direct me to the email addresses I should hypothetically not listen to in the future? Based on your hypothetical story?
Well, I think just I don't know the specific email addresses, no, but I'm just gonna keep an eye out on Detective Comics. I'm gonna keep an eye out.
Do some detecting.
We'll see. So let's take a quick word from our faithful sponsors over here.
Our reliable, faithful sponsors.
Indeed. Yeah. When you when you make a deal with somebody and it doesn't quite pan out on their end, one might describe that as an injustice.
You might.
But I'm gonna keep finding out what's going on till Kingdom Come. I swear to God, I'll find out what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This week, the podcast is sponsored by Bombas.
Hey, Bombas.
How do you feel about socks?
You know, I'm looking at my horribly fucked up feet that I really ought to put lotion on more, and I'm thinking maybe if I wore socks, they wouldn't get so dry.
That's a
Is my
good.
current sock thought.
Yeah, that's you should treat your feet much better than you do.
I don't treat my feet well at all. It's actually kind of pathetic.
And they will remember that. They will come back to fucking bite you in the foot. And
That's what it feels like, honestly.
Yeah, you suffer because you don't treat your feet nice. That's your deal. Well, if you got cozy socks that handled your natural curvature, handling your natural curvature is important, right? I'd say that these days, more than ever, it's important to identify the curves on your body and feel good about them and wear things that highlight that natural curvature. So the curvature of your ankles.
I always wear my pajama pants.
There
They're
you
comfy
go.
on my curves.
There you go. So the curvature of your ankles and the curvature of the ball of your feet and all those little spots, why not do good with a pair of Bombas socks? Because they're out there reinventing socks, keeping them cozy, using the best fabrics, the smoothest fields. They don't feel like those cheap pairs. They're the good ones. You're getting rid of that awful, terrible, horrible seam that creates a vulnerability in the sock.
I feel like the distance between like a generic kind of trashy shirt and a nice shirt is much smaller than the distance between trash and good socks. Like maybe it's the sensitivity of your feet, but like it's overt and obvious right away.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. A shit pair of socks quickly become leggings. A good pair of socks don't. And that's why you want to take a look at Bombas over here. And, of course, every sock you purchase, they donate a pair to someone in need. And with that program, over 40 million pairs of socks and counting have been donated through a network of 3,000 plus partners. So give a pair when you buy a pair and get 20% off your first purchase at bombas.com/superbeast. That's bombas.com/superbeast for 20% off your first purchase. Bombas.com/superbeast. Thanks, Bombas.
Thank you, Bombas.
The podcast is also sponsored by Brook Linen. See the pun?
Linen.
See the pun? Clever name. Clever name. It's like Brooklyn, but it's linen. You see? So if you were to assume that it was
linen who?
Linen that originated in Brooklyn.
I don't know what I'm doing over here.
You proud of that one?
No, I don't even get it.
Good.
I thought it was going to go somewhere and it just didn't go anywhere.
Well, when you're not going anywhere, like your jokes, you want to be cozy underneath blankets. A good, nice feeling blanket is what you want on your bed.
I love a good blanket.
A good blanket rules. One might say that the first thing you experience in the beginning of your day is the feeling of your blanket, is it not? Is it literally not the first thing?
I thought you were going to say the beginning of your life.
That's true. We can go further. If you zoom out, everything really did start with a blanket. It was the first thing you touched that wasn't just like the goop.
Even if your parents like left you in a dumpster or something, they probably put a blanket over you.
Probably. Unless you like got forceps, in which case then you got forceps touched first. But the blanket was the first comforting thing
to
enter your life. And then comes the loving cradle and the loving feel from the parent and such. But the blanket came first. So don't you betray a good blanket. This is getting weird. Listen, man.
You know what a good blanket will do? It'll protect you while you sleep from the various liquids that may leak out of your dog.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something else, but it'll do that. It'll do that. When you're young enough, it protects you from the evils of the room. Scary shadows, they can't get through the blanket. You know.
I really did believe that.
Yeah. The covering yourself with a little bit of fabric keeps out the evil. The nightmare cannot penetrate.
It's supernaturally repellent.
It's just that simple. So, you know, life's too short to sleep between anything besides really nice sheets. So, yeah, Brooklyn, blah, 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 excuse me. Brooklinen are out there making luxury quality sheets that are available directly to you without the luxury level markups. They got a variety of colors, patterns, and materials to fit your needs and tastes. You're talking over 50,000 5-star reviews and counting. They're so confident you'll love them that they even have a 365-day money-back guarantee. Do you need a sheet right now?
I'm just like you said Brooklinen just now, and my brain clicked the Brooklyn part, even though you said it earlier, because the first time you said Brooklinen, I was like, oh, is it like a river-based blanket thing? Is that the theme? Like a babbling brook,
like a babbling
brook,
brook.
it's like a stream. And then like it's like the
it's just,
New York.
It's just New York, man.
Yeah, okay.
It's not that complicated. It's
New
not
York
that deep.
needs blankets also.
It's not that deep.
Well, no, because its brook is like a foot deep tops.
Anyway, a lot of great rap came out of Brooklyn, and now there's some good quality sheets coming out of Brooklyn. All right? There you go. So, they've also got more than just sheets, too. They got comforters, pillows, towels, and loungewear. All of that stuff. So, just never mind this idiot. Go to brooklinen.com. Use promo code SuperBeast to get $20 off when you spend $100 or more, plus free shipping. That's BROOKLINEN.com, and enter promo code SuperBeast to get $20 off when you spend $100 or more, plus free shipping. Brooklinen, promo code SuperBeast at checkout. Thanks, Brooklinen.
Thanks, Brooklinen.
It's not. You don't have to overthink it. It's not. There's no water.
But it's an island.
If you were on an island and you didn't have enough, and you were trapped, you would probably be worried about your intake and how nutritious and healthy it would be.
I sure would be.
Because eating hard is tough. No, eating good is hard. You've thrown me the fuck off, and I can't talk anymore, and it's your fault, so shut up.
Eating hard is good.
Just talk about eating healthy.
Listen, eating hard and healthy for your hard and hearty heart is difficult. Nutrition's, it's kind of complicated. That's why there's nutritionists. It's a whole weird thing. I'm not smart enough to do this. Wooly, can anyone help me with this?
Sure can.
Somebody just give me things to pick out that are good for me.
Freshly is here to help you. Chefs are taking care of your meals a few nights a week, taking the pressure off of you and your dumbass food decisions. You can't trust yourself. Look, you can't trust that. You can't listen to that. Does that sound like someone who can prepare their own meals? I mean, really.
I can feed myself.
We'll find out for the next week or two, won't we?
I suppose we will.
Well, anyway, eating healthy is the name of the game.
I will die in the next 2 weeks.
Freshly can save you from yourself. Meals designed by nutritionists, cooked by chefs, making it easier to eat even better. And they get to you straight to your door. Of course, you don't have to worry about your portions and your prepping and your cooking and your cleaning and all that mess. So what you want to do is, Freshly They've got chef-made, nutrition-packed delicious meals delivered straight to your door, no cooking required. All you got to do is visit freshly.com, and you can choose over 30 delicious, satisfying, better-for-you meals like steak peppercorn, sausage-baked penne, or chicken pesto bowls. Always delivered fresh, never frozen, ready in just 3 minutes. So right now, Freshly is offering our listeners $40 off your first 2 orders when you go to freshly.com/superbeast. Stop stressing about dinner. You go to freshly.com/superbeast for $40 off your first 2 orders. That's FRESHLY.com/superbeast for $40 off your first 2 orders. Thanks, Freshly.
Thanks, Freshly.
On to the news. Couple things going down. Number 1, first and foremost, the Stone Ocean is upon us.
Hey! Happy Jesus, everyone!
Happy Jesus. Happy green baby. Happy
That's
weird.
absolutely 100% on purpose, right?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say so. And if not, then it just happens to line up. And especially congratulations to Aifaruz, who is the voice of Jolene Cujo. And basically the adorable announcement where the voice actor for Jolene has been in voice acting as a career for 12 years because of JOJO. So, like, this is the ultimate, like, super hyper top of the mountain dream come true, because she literally got into the business because of this.
The craziest thing is her IMDb photo has her like posing with her muscles out, which she totally has. She's extremely fit. And it's this kind of thing where you're looking at her and you're like, this is the woman they could totally cast as Jolene in the live action version of this.
Super rad shit. Yeah.
Like, dead on.
She's also named after a musician as well, because I believe she's half Japanese, half Egyptian, and she's named for an Egyptian pop star. So
this just seems like a slam dunk. In
the reference is all in. Yeah, it's fucking great. So very cool to see that, and also very cool to see one Kira Buckland celebrating the fuck out of that and just being wholesomely happy about that. And you kind of go like, well, you know, guys, when the time comes, do the right thing.
It'll be your turn in a year or so, Kira. I literally cannot think of anyone more obviously qualified to play Jolene.
Yeah, no, all timelines point in this direction. Don't fuck around. Don't corrupt it. Keep us on the right path. You know. So that's nice to know. It also, if we assume that they can get everything done in the relative similar time frame to previous seasons, then you kind of look like, all right, it's been 2019 was the end of part 5, so you give it a gap year or 2, and then you start up the next one. You know, it might not be 2030 before we're talking about Steel Ball Run. Maybe we'll be able to hit it by the 25s or so. You know, who knows? But we're getting there. Very cool. So far, the little announcement didn't show much. It just had a little yada yada dawa and a key art. Good shit.
I am very excited for everyone that's had fun with the subtitling of band names in English to enjoy what I can only describe as the copyright apocalypse in Stone Ocean. Like, I have
Flaccid
no
pancake,
idea.
here we come.
I have no idea what they're gonna do.
Some good shit is what they're gonna do. Can't wait.
Like,
and it'll never happen, but I did see Rice Pirate Mick. He had a good idea where he's just like, hey guys, what if? And it's like that first panel of Anasui that is like before they made it a dude, you know, when it was originally designed to be a girl. It's just like, what if though? And it's like, yeah, you can't just, they're not gonna just go that wild on a change from manga to anime. But you know, what would be cool, it would be rad if they did, but like what would be cool is if they had the same initial panel have the same like exact body profile type, and then just switch it over after that to in the same way that the manga played out. We'll see. I'm looking forward to lots of things. Looking forward to FF. Looking forward to, you know, to the voice of a devout priest. Can't wait to hear how that's going to play out.
Hanging out, reading books.
Just chilling. Good friends.
Just chilling. Good pals. Hanging out naked on the bed.
And what's interesting about these casting choices, too, is that we're going to get to compare them to the games, which came out and did pretty good. Like, no complaints about the Jolene or the Poochie or the, you know, like, I believe...
Didn't care for Josuke. That was the only one.
I felt like they were all right, you know, but we're going to see if they keep that same energy going forward, you know? Yeah. So JoJo 6 coming soon.
Huzzah!
Yeah, she's literally like crying on stage and stuff. It's great. So there's that. Fun stuff going down. Rivals of Aether. Man, this fucking game is so sick, dude.
Keeps coming back up into news.
So it turns out, I didn't realize this, but because I knew when the workshop came into play, but I didn't realize what was going on. Rivals of Aether has a lot of custom creations on the Steam Workshop because you can make your own characters.
I did not know that.
And people have made thousands of characters and content for the game that you can get in the workshop. And what Dan Fornes did, creator, was they grabbed 4 of the best creations from the workshop community and put them into the game proper. Spam. So you can go check out the trailer for that, and you can see just like, you know, the best of like the fan community's designs and stuff. And they came up with some rad shit. You got a super fucking, like, you got a badass like kung fu furry. You got like a singing mouse. You got some cool designs that made it in there. It's a really fun way to like add more content to an already really good game. And what I would say sets Rivals of Aether apart from all the other platform fighters and Smash likes is the absolute crazy attention to detail they put into the characters, and especially into their guest characters. Like, Shovel Knight in that game is the best guest appearance he's made, in my opinion.
Yeah. I remember seeing that and just being like, it was above and beyond. Is that where he's the weird fish freakazoid?
You can get the helmet off, but you can do that in the Shovel Knight Showdown too.
Okay. Is Shovel Knight really a creepy fish man?
It's implied that he might be. But
That's terrible. I hate it.
But it might just be a joke. Don't think too hard about it. Leave it alone. If you don't ask, you don't find out. Yeah. So that's a really cool thing. And then, of course, that led to a really hilarious little scrub quotes moment where Dan pointed out that, like, the announcement for this Rivals of Aether content got pulled from Reddit/fighters because platform fighters are not played by the FGC. And then Scrub Quotes was just quoting the actual subreddit's rules as a scrub quote, because it's like, yeah, fuck off with that. This is a legit game. It's very, you know, like, you can kind of go on your, like, arbitrary things here, but at the end of the day, like, it's a shitty thing to decide, like, that, you know, platform fighters don't belong in this discussion or whatever the fucking case is. It's stupid, you know?
It's like it's against the rules to talk about platform fighters.
If people want to talk about then see if they're interested in talking about it. I assure you, it's not likely that a brawl out thread is going to be in the hot rising tab. Anyway, so yeah, proper squab quote there, but never mind that bullshit. And like the wording of it too was very weird, because it was talking in a way that was like, we speak for the FGC kind of sounding, which is like, man, like, I think everybody is just over all of that.
You're just some Reddit mods, dude. You're not. Stop it.
Anyway, who cares about that? Rivals of Aether is a fucking incredible game, and it's getting more shit. And the idea that they like have thousands of characters to pick from, and they're like, well, let's add these 4. It's like, they can just keep expanding this game.
Yeah, they can just do that.
As long as the quality of the character is like full and solid, they can fucking just keep it going, you know?
Like every single year. Hey, find 4 more good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
And because it's like the building blocks of what they made on their own is already incredible. It's not like it's like, oh, you're just like building off of like the community. It's like, no, the community showed up because the game was already incredible, you know? So fucking kudos to Rivals of Aether. Love to see it. So there was that. A couple other announcements as well. So I talked.
Hey, Wolves.
You got to
have to step away.
Dog Dad.
I'm gonna still listen, and I can yell.
Okay.
But he's throwing a tantrum because he's hungry.
All right, go do Dog Dad.
I'll be literally right there though, so I can keep yelling.
Okay. Well, earlier we talked about the PlatinumGames. What is it? Is it real? Is it not? What's happening? Something about a Soul Cresta. I don't. What? Huh? But. I can't. We won't get to the bottom of this until I'm offline and I'm reading it fully for myself. But I'll tell you what. What is real is the World of Demons iOS Apple Arcade game that they announced a while ago is out. The mobile game they worked on. I don't know if you remember that thing.
The not quite Okami sequel?
Yeah, the thing that looks a lot like Okami, but it isn't. That project is now done, and you know, I wish it wasn't just a mobile game, but it looks really cool, and I'm curious to know more about it and to know if it's got that platinum touch. So I'll investigate. Art style is very much, though, like what if we took the monsters from Okami and just made a Pokédex of just that, and then made a game where you focus on the monsters and there's no actual Ami, you know? And that art style fucking is one of the most gorgeous ones ever, so I'm here for it. Makes sense. I just wish it wasn't stuck on, you know, phones.
Even if it was just also on Android, you could play it on PC with BlueStacks.
Yes. You can. I am going to, like, if I do want to take a look at this, it's called World of Demons. If I do want to take a look at it, I can just play it the same way I played Teppen on stream as well. So, you know, that's a possibility.
Wait. No. It's not on Android either, Willie.
No, it's on it's on Apple Arcade.
Oh, so how do you get Teppen from your iOS device onto your TV?
With a screen mirroring device. So there's programs that allow you to mirror your screen to anything you're connected with Bluetooth, and in this case, or not Bluetooth, rather. You just use the screen mirroring program, and yeah, in this case, I just mirrored it to my desktop, and then I played it on the phone, and it showed up fine. Plus, if I remember correctly, Apple Arcade allows you to play with a controller. So, at the very least, it can feel like a real game.
What
right?
Are you saying? Phone games aren't real games? Well,
yeah. Yes. That's exactly. That's correct. That's what I'm saying. What are they if they're not real games? Well, they're phone games. They're games on your phone. So yeah, that's what it is. then
before we move on, I want to point out when I gave my nephew a Switch and like Super Mario and Zelda for Christmas a couple years ago, the first words out of his mouth when he opened it up was, "Oh wow, a real video game."
hey,
And he was like 6.
I remember. Yep, real console.
Even the kids have
They
made
know.
the decision for us.
It's good. Good. That's good. Yeah. So that's not all though, because the phone is also going to be receiving Devil May Cry Pinnacle of Combat in about a month or two. It's coming out in June, I believe. Have you
Is that
watched
the one with all the nice looking lady shit?
Yeah. Have you watched any footage of this? It's got like Lady doing a lot of. She's more prominent because she's the other character alongside Dante, and I think Virgil's unlockable as well.
Better than it is.
It's so weird because it's super not like the team that. It's not the fucking Devil May Cry team at all, and it feels like it's made by someone else, especially in the cutscenes, especially the way you're seeing Dante and Lady, talk to each other and interact and stuff. They have these cute little moments, but it is very like, this feels off. This feels like a alternate world spin-off thing. But in terms of like the combat when you're playing out, I'm like, well, it looks more DMC than DMC2.
Remember the DMC4 iOS game?
Yes.
And how it was actually not garbage?
What was it called? Requiem? Or
Oh, I don't know about that.
it was called... there was a word. Yeah. I messed around in it for a second. It wasn't very good, but it also was like... Yeah. Refrain. There we go. It wasn't very good, but it was also more Devil May Cry than I expected it to be. This thing playing out looks, like they went, all right, DMC3 is the model, DMC4 environments, and then just map your buttons. It's got 5 touchpad buttons and a stick, and then you hit them, and you do the thing, And I do enjoy that Lady is getting more play at all. It's nice that exists. But the first 5 minutes or so, like Dante meets Lady in a bar and they have a really stiff English conversation, and then a demon jumps in and starts killing people, and then they kind of have a casual, and then Dante steps away and casually kills it, and then steps back, and then they finish talking. And then, like, Nevin shows up, and she's like...
What?
And I'm like... And she's, like, telling the demons to go do stuff, and I'm like, well, why? So, I don't think it's going to make any sense whatsoever, because Nevin is still a guitar, and that shouldn't... Why would that be a thing? I don't know. It's not going to make any sense. But, yeah. We'll see what this turns out to be. I think it's going to probably just involve like a best of. I imagine it'll be a best of boss fights from different games that they just kind of went like, well, whatever. I like Nevin. I like Virgil. Throw these fights in. Maybe Burial or Beowulf or something. We'll see. It's going to be weird.
Much like all the others, like the first thing I saw of it was just like a million super high-end lady assets on Susie's Twitter.
Yes, of course. Number one reporting on everything lady related. All your lady news. You can go ahead and follow the Sphere Hunter to find out. I couldn't believe it.
When Susie loaded into Fortnite, like the very first thing she did was play as Chun-Li, and then she switched to a skin that was just her in Fortnite. Like, no matter what game she plays, she manages to find the character with her exact hairstyle.
Find the hair. Yep. Just look for Motoko Kusanagi, and then
that's totally the reason why it's so easy.
Just get it. Get it in there. So there's that, and then announcement of a cool looking game here. Playtonic, the ukulele folks, are going to be publishing something called Demon Turf, and I would like to call attention
Starring
to it.
J.K. Rowling. That's crazy.
No, that is not at all.
It's a different. No, okay.
This is very different. Demon Turf looks great. I call attention to it because it has a similar art style to. That's
I'm really happy with that.
TURF.
I'm really happy with that.
That's TURF. That is. It is the same art style as or similar to Sonic Robo Blast 2, in that it's a big 3D world with a character that is made of sprites, that is 2D, or at the very least, if they are 3D, they're convincingly switching between angles at a stilted.
Oh, that looks great.
Yeah, at a stilted frame rate. So in the end, it reminds me a lot of the way Robo Blast does. In fact, the main character here seems to change forms and turn into different little objects and bats and flying creatures and things like that. Not unlike Balan Wonderworld or Wonderland or whatever the fuck.
I was just about to say maybe this can get the absolute shit stink of Balan Wonderworld out of everyone's nose.
It legit looks like a good version of what Balan was going for. Demon Turf is...
I'm glad you kind of brought that up because I wanted to bring your attention to something. Did you see my tweet about the Metacritic reviews of Balan Wonderworld?
No.
Did you see the Metacritic reviews of Balan Wonderworld?
No.
It's got hundreds of 10 out of 10s.
Wow.
Written on the same day. All users found them helpful. And they read like this. From Uroxa. I'll suggest to give a real chance to this game because it's much more entertaining and fun to play than many other games of the same genre. And from Wallachsheim, one of the most enjoyable games ever made. Essentially a classic platform game, but with an incredible original and powerful theme. Awesome. Hundreds of them that are all like this, and they keep calling it a platform genre.
And what's the other score?
The real Metacritic score?
Yeah. Because that's the user score.
Yeah. Fucking, let me go check. I didn't even bother to look, because, actual Metacritic score for that thing has got to be, 10 or something.
Mr. Naka, what are you doing?
39.
Mr. Naka, 39. What are you doing? What are you getting the bots out?
It literally looks like he wrote them himself. Kurovu writes, this game is simply most original platform of this 2021. If you have the will to try the complete game, you will be able to see why this game is so special.
Man.
Those aren't bots. Those are non-native English speakers. 100%.
It's a shame because it's brand new IP, new characters, whatever platform world. But yeah, I'm all for go make a new thing, you know? It just don't make it suck, man. Well, never mind that. I
legit don't understand why Yuji Naka's making a new game. I'm like, did you forget all the fucking pieces of shit Yuji Naka made?
But then there's the good ones.
Uh-huh.
But then, yeah.
I'm gonna pull up a fucking list.
I think you got to realize that when you have a track record of classics and forgettables, well, what do you remember? Not the forgettables. The classics tend to stay in mind, right?
Hey, Wooly, you want to know what the last game Yuji Naka directed was?
Rodeo the Sky Soldier?
Nope. It was Choo Choo Rocket. That was the last and only game he ever directed before Balan Wonderworld. He is a producer and an executive supervisor on everything he has ever worked on, except for Choo Choo Rocket, where he was the director.
Well, he also programmed a bunch of shit back in the day.
Yes, that's true. Programmer is in here too. In 1984, he designed Girls Garden.
But like, isn't he the dude behind like Phantasy Star and
producer? He was a programmer on Phantasy Star 1, and he was a programmer and a producer on Phantasy Star 2. On Ghosts and Ghouls, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, he was a programmer. And on Sonic 3, Hedgehogs and Knights, he was a programmer and producer. The mentality that this is the man who created Sonic and was like the driving force behind the classic Sonic games was literally never true.
So Rodeo, Ivy the Kiwi, Puyo Puyo, Sonic Rush, Billy Hatcher. These are all the things I associate with his name.
Yep,
producer. I don't suppose
he
this
was
is
also the producer on Let's Tap.
Well, the narrative has certainly been one where I just associate all of those titles with his name.
Yeah. Like, he invented Sonic. Like, no, he didn't.
Well, I would say programming is being involved in the programming aspect is more than someone that would be credited as just a career producer. Admittedly.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of Inafune light, in that like a lot of the attributation is mistaken, but Yuji Naka does not feel like a scumbag, thief, asshole, bastard. He just seems like
who could you
kind
be
of bad
to?
at making games. I'm referring to Inafune.
Oh, okay.
Inafune, the man I have literally never heard one nice thing about from anyone in the industry. I was thinking that like there are a number of other folks who are in the producer role that like end up being more of a face and end up being credited for like much more involvement than just the production roles. And in Japan, production roles and director roles can be a little vague.
So this is it. There are some times when someone is credited as a producer, but like they did direction work involving in that. Like it depends. But yeah, I don't think this was one of those ones where like looking at that list of games, that
I don't get the feeling that if Yuji Naka left Sega, that Sega would burn down every project he was involved with just to get the stink off of them, like a certain someone else.
Twice.
Wouldn't that be crazy if somebody left your company and you were so sick of them that you took the PR hit on killing every single thing they ever worked on just to be done with it? That'd be wild.
But would it be worse than someone leaving your company and just stealing thousands of dollars?
I don't know. Hey, didn't that guy don't worry.
What? Huh?
What are we talking about?
Who?
What are we talking about?
What? Anyway.
It says a lot about when a beloved game producer or director leaves the business and you just never hear about them again. It's like they were never there.
Yeah.
Boy, I sure am looking forward to Street Fighter 6. I bet that's going to be super good and on time.
So you guys should check out Demon Turf. It looks really cool. And it is a very cool sprite and 3D hybrid looking thing. And yeah, it's being published by Platonic, and I want to call attention to this cool looking game.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Looks really cool. What else we got?
Huh?
In the news.
Give me a second to.
You seem confused.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not confused at all. But you might be, because esports and Virtua Fighter did come together.
Exactly what I said it was gonna be.
They did come together.
When this got announced, and I said, like, my wildest hope is just a re-release.
So it turns out that Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown has been rated for PS4 in Korea. It was just a re-release, which you already had your copies of Yakuza and Judgment.
No, here is the thing though. If you add rollback, it's worth it. But for real, in terms of Virtua Fighter doesn't need numbered releases to count as new games, because with a roster list as small and intense as they have, when VF4 Evo came out and added 2 characters, that was like the end of the world. That was like mind blowing. When when did Taka show up? Was that in VF5 Final Showdown?
Taka was 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he left for 4, remember?
And then pulled out because of the weird body physics, and then reinserted
and then
for
they
5.
redid all the throws. Yeah, I think he came back for Final Showdown.
Yeah.
So, like, add 1 new character and decent netcode, and it's fine.
Well, after having it hidden in the arcades of various fucking Yakuza games, you can probably now just get it on its own. Hey, man. If this will drop with good-ass netcode, what is there to shake a stick at? Fine. You know? Excuse me. Right now, the Korean rating has been... the Korean rating for it was for March 19th on PS4. And... yeah, that was it.
Come on, put rollback in and make Harada look extra stupid. Come on.
Hey, look, man, he can just keep saying that it already has it as he serves up drinks from his bar.
Just have somebody from Sega come out and be like, Virtua Fighter 5 is 5, and then like at the round table, and then just stare at Harada.
Have you seen his his talk show?
What?
Harada has a talk show, and it's him at a bar, and he's behind the bar, and then they invite guests to come in, and the first guest is Ken fucking Kutaragi.
Okay.
And he comes in, and you're just like, oh my god, there he is, Mr. Discipline
crazy
himself.
Ken in here.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And he sits down, and you know, he exudes his aura, and it's felt, because I think right after that, he just grabs a bunch of FGC dudes, like Itabashi Zangief comes in, and a bunch of other dudes, and they kind of come in and are just like, whoa, what the fuck? It's Ken Kutaragi. And he's just like the veteran, standing next to the young bucks.
Oh my god.
You know?
I just saw somebody in the chat just go, the Mega 64 guy, ? And I want to die. Ken Kutaragi, you know that guy from the Mega 64 episode?
It's been a while.
Did you see that thing of like, what's the first game you remember playing in an image?
Yeah.
Somebody posted Melee at me.
Yeah.
And then like Shy, I think, posted World of Warcraft. And I'm like, what?
This is not going...
I was in college!
This is going to get worse as we go on. You realize...
Oh, it sure will.
It
sure will.
That what you think Final Fantasy looked like 20 years ago picture...
That's the worst one
If
ever.
you want to just fucking die, that's the one.
Oh, to those of you who don't know, it's like what you think FF looked like 20 years ago, and it's like Final Fantasy 4. It's like what it actually looked like 20 years ago, and it's FF10.
Yeah. The year 2000 is forever 10 years ago.
Oh no.
Well, look, Ken Kutaragi is the Mr. PlayStation around the era of the PlayStation 3, and he is known for coming out and doing amazing interviews because he is a no-nonsense, no-bullshit disciplinarian who literally would come out and say, the price point is good, it will teach people discipline.
They'll have to get second jobs, and that's good. That's good for the economy.
The product deserves it. Right?
What?
Like, it's kind of, yeah. So, that's
you're going to have a cell processor in your fridge. It's going to make your games run better.
Also, they had the screenshots of, like, a bunch of USB ports and shit that never fucking came out back in the day when they had... it had, like, practically, like, more ports in the back of it than your fucking computer does now, really. Which all turned out to be lies, but... Harada's Bar. He invites guests in, so we'll see.
Did you know that the PS3 can output to 2 different 1080p televisions at once? Do you remember that?
It had... Was it Flash? No, what was it? There was a form of memory that you could, like, there was a slot in the back that was, like... some ridiculous card format that no one ever used for
zip drive, are you?
No, it wasn't zip drive. It was smaller, but it was like it was something. It was crazy. Launch, like early, not even launch, but like early PS3 announced some wild shit that never came out, guys. I think it was mini. Yeah, they had compact flash. I don't remember. I think it was compact flash. Because compliance wise, we're looking at this going like, okay, I guess this is, stuff to consider because the hardware changed, the SKU changed so drastically over time. Crazy. Anyway, it would be really funny if the door to Harada's Bar opened and in walks Keats and like Sejam. And you're just like, oh boy, where's this one gonna
Run,
go?
Harada! Run! They're gonna stab you!
You can't. It's socially distanced and there's a plastic barrier. You can't escape.
They can throw a knife.
I kind of want to know. Let me take a quick look on Google to see if there's a picture of all the ports this fucking thing had. It's gonna take too long. Fuck it.
Pre-launch or like after launch?
Okay, so I'm looking at a picture here of like, there's a Memory Stick Pro slot, there's an SD card slot, and then there's absolutely a compact flash slot in the front of the PS3. And that's the front. Yeah. 3 slots there, right? And then that's like the launch one, the big fucking exhale oval thing. And then in the back of the non-launch one, there was 2 HDMI slots, an optical out, 3 Ethernet, 2 USB. Like, it was wild. It was fucking wild, guys. Shit made no sense. Yeah. So, anyway. So you had that, and then of course, we could not go on with that. Well, actually, real quick, first, not much to this, but there was I believe it was a Apex developer panel where the director of Apex Legends was talking about what's coming, and the quote is, "You're going to see a ton of Titanfall coming to Apex one way or another in Season 9. If you're a Titanfall fan, hang on for Season 9.
Put solos in.
So I think it's more than just Blisk. It might be some real good shit. Who knows?
Literally, just put pilots and Titans on the existing maps. And you're done.
Call it a day.
Like, just do that.
I don't want to, like, all of this talking about Titanfall that is not actual Titanfall existing has worn me the fuck down. So I'm getting to a point of, like, I don't want to give this any more energy, but that's what was said. Take it as you would. We'll see where it go. We'll see what happened. And lastly, before we get out of here, we can't not talk about that Judgment Remastered screenshot.
Did you see the video?
I didn't watch the video.
All right, so for context, because everyone's going to tell you it looks different in motion, let's go get the video. You break down the story. I'll grab the video.
Sure. I only looked at the screenshots, in particular the ones that were posted by the Tojo Dojo, who were the ones that I believe that talked about Judgment 2 last
Here you go,
week.
Wolves. You can check this out in the background.
But side by side, PS4 versus PS5, and you can see that it looks like they're doing that thing where they think this is better looking because it's a crisper model, but the lighting is all fucked, and the field of vision, the FOV is just shifted, but it doesn't look better just because the FOV is changed and the model is brighter lit. It loses a lot of the character of the original screenshot, at the very least, in this moment.
Yeah, so I tossed you the video, and it shows a bunch of different scenes. And the frame rate's higher, which is nice. And the texture quality has improved, which is nice. But depth of field is basically gone. And there was a really intense contrast filter on the entire game, as well as a very specific lighting style that was in every scene in the entire game that has now been just totally removed. And, the characters look so bad by comparison. Yagami looks so much they made Yagami, who is based on a pop star, look like fucking Yoshi P.
I mean, I think it's a similar there's some screenshot, there's a part of this video I'm seeing here where he's standing in front of a burning fire, and this is kind of like when I was looking at the Batman Arkham remake comparisons and stuff like that, where it's the newer version is again, it's a higher fidelity model, so it's almost like there's brighter lighting to show that off, but when you kill the high contrast shadows, you kill a mood that the original game sets.
Every single scene in the entire game was designed around this lighting and color. Right?
Not to mention, I find the original game is gorgeous.
Oh, it's fantastic looking. if you look at the 42-second mark, Wolves, you see his buddy. I forget his name, ironically enough, but the guy in the orange shirt jumping over a table.
Mm-hmm.
And like you played some of Judgment, you remember how vibrant and beautiful that dude's shirt was.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks like trash in the new version. Like all the color is gone.
Yeah, it's just kind of flattened out. Yeah.
And it's like, Jesus shit. I'm glad I played and beat this on the PS4 because this looks terrible.
So I think this is going to be an issue with 3D remakes that are like only a couple years later, that are just kind of like touch-ups to, like an already it just touch-ups to the render engine, to the lighting engine, and to the models in a way. It's
always the lighting engine that gets it.
Yeah,
like in all these remasters, it's always the lighting gets fucked up.
And I think it's likely because it's like you're dealing with like two artists that are handling this job, and like one of them is just way better at it. And if the person who gets assigned to handle the lighting in the remaster is just not as good as the original, then they're going to just
the remaster for Arkham City, and holy shit.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my god.
Well, so I was looking at I was looking at actually the Dark Souls 1 remaster, right? And that's a lot less drastic in places.
Yeah, there's some issues, but overall, I think the increased frame rate's worth it.
Exactly. Blighttown fixed equals like fuck it. It go for it is what it seems to be. And outside of that, in general, yeah, the solid 60 is just, it adds so much to the game. But that's one of those things where it's just like, okay, they didn't go for the look how much nicer we can do it now approach. They just kind of went for, it's more or less the same, just running better, and things
the lighting is jacked.
Yeah, and things are crisper, as it is. Yeah. But like whenever there's this thing like, yeah, the Batman thing, or with this where it's like, no, we can improve on these things. It's like, no, don't do that. Just
you nearly always botch it.
It feels like it's becoming an issue, right? And then it becomes like, well, now the more recent one is more readily available, but now you have to choose between which one to go. Like that moment my soul died when everyone was like, oh dude, maybe go play the old Arkham, and I was like, fuck this. I hate that. When it's like you can't,
it's a stupid problem.
The most recent one really is the one to not touch, That sucks. Fucking sucks.
And it's like, then you get Xenoblade, which is immaculate on the Switch. It's like a remake. It's incredible. But like I'm looking at the Arkham City one right now, and I know you were doing Arkham Asylum, obviously, but like the Arkham City one is like fucking embarrassing. Like the color grading is always fucked up. Like every single one of these remasters, it's always the color grading and the lighting is just, they shift it from blue to yellow for some fucking reason.
And I mean, like, again, I feel like if it's on Steam and there's a workshop, then like people can like mod it, or even like you can just Nexus mod to fix the lighting things or whatever. But yeah, just in general, make the existing thing look, if it's a remake within a decade, I would say, right? If it's within a decade, just make it look crisper, look better, run smoother, improve what it's already putting out. You don't have to go and try to get a flex going, by changing assets up and redoing the lighting engine.
Don't forget the ultimate. The ultimate is Sleeping Dogs.
I don't.
The definitive version. The definitive version on PC is way worse looking than the original version, but it's the only one you can buy now because they delisted the original PC version. Because the definitive version is a port to the PC of the improved console versions.
I still have the copy I got for working on it back in the original days.
Good.
So I'll just hold on to that.
Hold on, I'll grab a fucking random screenshot of what I'm looking at right now. The left is the original PC version. The right is the new one that is the only one you can buy now.
Oh, okay.
Like all the shadows are gone off character faces. A bunch of detail is missing. It doesn't run as well.
I will say that like in some cases, right, like with, like, for example, New Demon Souls, like a lot of these side by sides are
New
like
Demon Souls is like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's nothing to be said here, but the model change still is like, that's a bummer, you know?
Yeah, we're talking about the fucking quote unquote remaster that is just like, we're selling it to you on a new console because we assume you don't have a personal computer and can't just turn the settings up.
So, yeah, I do want to play Judgment, and probably will take a look at some point for myself in the future. So, like, I'm just content loading up the PS4 version if that's the difference between the two. To be honest, the original one like looks fucking gorgeous, you know, to me. Like I don't see this as necessary. But yeah, that's what's happening. Let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. And while Wooly goes through and finds the first email, I'll put in the last piece of news, which is that the Loki trailer came out, and that looks fucking cool.
Yay! Good.
Did you see what the content, what the premise is?
No, I didn't see.
Timeline people are mad at Loki for being alive.
Yeah, if it's just
in time jail,
Hiddleston gonna hiddle. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's, you know, doesn't matter what the premise is. Just
do
that. Just do more of that. All right, so we got one coming in over here from Joe from Wisconsin, and this one is going to include some spoilers for the game Fury. FYI. Dare my neck, my back, my woolly, and my pat. I recently got around to playing Fury. Great music, fun combat. Halfway through the game, you can get a secret ending by choosing to stop fighting and live forever in a garden paradise. There's no prompt for it. You just linger in an area long enough and it triggers. Not knowing this, I decided to walk around the area, curious what it would be like. And at some point, credits just started rolling, and I had to start the game over from the beginning since it counted as a real ending. Thankfully, I got back to that point, but it still soured my night. Have you ever accidentally beaten a game or unlocked a secret to the detriment of your experience? That sucks. And
accidentally beat a game?
That scenario that I hear that they're describing, forcing that on you without an out sucks. I would not ever want that to. I love that being in the game, but what you have to do, in my opinion, is treat it like Nier, and make it so that you find a premature wacky ass ending, and you go, "What the fuck?" and then you just continue your save. So, Nier, to me, Automata in particular, is like fucking great about that, in just having all kinds of wacky endings and things, and then you don't lose anything. Your save is still fine. You progress, and then you're good to go from wherever that moment happens. The Persona games also have that, but these are long RPGs where your save file is going to be, you know, X number of days back.
So I can't remember anything of this kind, so thank God I'm looking at this chat, because somebody points out the Silent Hill Homecoming alien ending, whereas normally you can only get the alien ending on your second playthrough, but in Homecoming it's just one of the endings you can get. So the fucking dramatic climax of the fucking story is you just get abducted by aliens and the game ends.
And you can get it playing legitimately?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just like this decision, and this decision. Instead, you go fight the final boss, you just get abducted by aliens.
That sucks.
And like, then you're like, wait, what happened? And like, aliens took you. Ha 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 ha. And it's like, okay, Jesus shit.
At bare minimum, make the credits scroll by really fast, like Yoko Taro does, so that you know that this is a joke. You know, like make it clear that it's like, ha ha, LOL. Okay, anyway, back to the thing. You know. Yeah, the fact that would happen unintentionally in Fury and then like force him to restart is a bummer there. I hear you. We got one coming in from Jason. Says, when you and Pat were discussing Arkham series and disappointing Titan battles, it got me thinking about how Doom Eternal's combat, Marauders, and the final battle with the Demon Lord went. I did Doom Eternal. I think Doom Eternal did a lot of great things, but I found the concept of your only hope is for the enemy to do this attack to kill him is not that great. When Eternal decided to do very limited ammo, infinite enemies, and a combat system that can only work when normal enemies are around, it made me miss the more one-on-one boss encounters from 2016. If a third Doom game happens, I personally think this direction should go. This isn't the direction it should go, but a lot of fans want bigger challenges. I do think games like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry have a free pass for this because of Witch Time and Royal Guard, which makes this concept way more enjoyable. My question is, do you think that Doom should have a more unique way of approaching combat, or should it just continue the route of combat only works when regular enemies are around? I want things to go more the style of 2016, where you had more ammo, harder to find secrets, retro levels, snap map, and more one-on-ones.
Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 are remarkably different.
Yes.
In style, despite being direct sequels.
Yes.
I fully land on the side of being pro Marauder. I think Marauders are great. And I think the final boss of the final DLC is fantastic. But I completely understand the complaints of it. They work unlike any other enemy in the game. And it goes from a game that has hard counters to an enemy that necessitates being hard countered. But I think that's cool.
But that's not. But the Marauder challenge is not. That's not quite the point of the question, though, right? It's more along the lines of Doom 1. You can have one-on-ones with these bosses, with the Cyber Demon and with the Spider, and you're in this particular case. You're having the game requires you to do the loop, so you got to do the loop with grunts around. And then the boss is kind of there as a like thing to pay attention to while you continue doing the loop, you know. And it's it's an ads fight, but the game is designed around the concept of ads being there, so it's not as bad. I love one-on-ones. I like a game that supports that style of battle. It's one of my favorite fucking things. But when Eternal like designs itself around that loop, it becomes hard to divorce the two, right? BioShock throwing a bunch of ads at you in this way ends up sucking, but it's a way to go the opposite direction of a really bad one-on-one from BioShock 1. In both cases, they just didn't do anything compelling with it, you know?
It's kind of interesting because Doom Eternal has 3 final bosses, you know, main game, DLC. And all 3 of them are completely different styles of boss. The first one is fine. The second one might be the worst possible boss they could make with that system. Like, it is like reviled. It is so awful. And then the third one is great. Third one's fantastic. So it's really interesting that you can look at like the style in which they were created, and it's like, man, like this type of boss probably can't be good in this system. Like the fight the real boss while real enemies are attacking you. Fucking disaster.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm like, as I'm working the thought out as we're, you know, discussing it, and I think that like the system is not built in a way that necessarily supports a really good 1v1, and I'm saying this as someone who fucking loves them. Like, the way to do it would be to negate the loop, and negating the loop would basically come down to just giving you what you need. Instead of making you fight for it and then fighting off the boss or whatever the case is, you know? And And I think like
the final in Eternal is like obsessed with its own loop. I think it's actually quite good, but it's like you must do the loop or else you will just die.
if you don't understand the loop, you won't proceed. Yeah,
right. And it's direct. It's step 1, step 2, step 3. But the thing is that the boss heals when it hits you. So you don't have to just know how to do the loop. You have to absolutely, completely master the loop.
Yeah, it's the exam
in order to do
right.
it.
So, because the loop is so integral to the game up to that point, then putting it into theory and going, all right, now demonstrate it flawlessly. It makes sense for the design. In a game that, you know, I mean, let's go to the obvious place to go when it comes to talking about boss fights. When you go to the Souls series, right? Mm-hmm. Replaying and getting into Demon Souls a lot recently has made me look at like a lot of these and look at how set piecey they are by comparison to some of the more honest one-on-ones you get from the rest of the franchise, and then all of the in-betweens. And like, it is true that, you know, you can look at a Souls boss that is like a big sword man and kind of, there's a point where you go, all right, it's another one of these guys. Got it.
I fought 35 of you at this point.
But the reason why there are 35 is because these are the most successful and fun ones that people enjoyed the style of, you know? More of those
tend to not have camera issues.
More of those, as opposed to having 35 Storm Rulers, is preferable.
Oh man, there are so many of those in Deaths that are just like the spectacle.
Yeah,
like,
and obviously
that are just like super easy.
And I went with Storm Ruler because it's not the Dragon God, right? Yeah. Like, Storm Ruler is actually a cool concept at the end of the day, but if you had to do that for every single one every single time, at a certain point you'd be like, all right, these are just puzzles with glorified set pieces. You know? And I like when a boss is more than a puzzle with a glorified set piece.
Like, every boss in Shrine of Storms is a joke. Like, the Adjudicator and Old Hero are, like, they're not the set piece that fucking Storm Ruler is, but they are similarly like, oh, that's the gimmick. Okay, and then you kill it.
So, yeah, I think it's like if your game design supports you being, like, it supports you being able to 1v1 and there is no like ads are required for this whole thing to function, then by all means go in that direction. But they steered out of it, and it's different from 2016, but it's fun. So I don't think they have to steer back into 2016 necessarily. Like, they found a thing, and I would say that, like, you know, Doom is also pretty different. As Eternal right now is pretty different from other stuff on the market, right? Like,
oh yeah, I can't think of any shooter that plays like it at all.
Doom as a legacy franchise coming back is cool, but coming back and doing a new thing and being really, really good at it is the best outcome, you know? So, yeah, I think it's fine for it to kind of like pick a new direction, go in it, and like stick with it. Good question, though. And lastly, let's take one here
Calm down, puppy.
From Ryalian says, good morning, Clever Name 1 and Clever Name 2. Recently picked up Dragon Quest V, and got back up to the part where you have to pick a wife. But after doing some reading, I found out that if you don't pick Deborah, the tsundere daddy's girl, then she ends up being a spinster with depression for the rest of her life. As someone who's afraid of dying alone, this really hit me where I live. But at the same time, Bianca, the childhood friend and canon love interest, was the first character I ever romanced in a video game, and I feel an obligation to pick her. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, this decision actually killed my motivation to keep playing because both options break my heart in some way. Have there ever been choices in a game that you think both outcomes were undesirable, so you didn't want to continue?
Ooh. Because I was about to say, like, that choice, like, sounds great. Like, man, I'm your character's so hot that it ruins this girl's life because she can't have you. That's awesome. But
I feel as if like the incentive to pick somebody should be not based on the FOMO of something horrible happening. Like, for example, if you're playing a Persona game and whoever you don't end up in a relationship with just dies horribly, that's a fucked up thing to do. And I don't think
shame.
I don't think that's
What a shame.
I don't like that. You know? Not FOMO. That FOMO is the wrong word for it. But like forcing a choice, not out of like a positive, but out of avoidance of the negative.
Fear of a negative, yeah.
Yeah. Now it does. Let's be real. If you're playing a Shin Megami Tensei game, and you gotta pick one of these paths, I'm pretty sure you realize, that your choices have consequences, and it's going to play out in a way that's not that great for everyone else.
I just realized,
but that's kind of the point.
The situation you described does exist in a Persona game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you do not romance someone in Persona 3, they die.
Wait, they live if you do?
Yup.
In P3P?
Yup.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
They snap out of it in the ending.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
So you gotta get on that hospital dick, or else you're a murderer.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, man.
That sucks. That's not a fair decision.
Don't do that. Don't line up the like. This is what happens if you don't. Just make it an appealing choice on its face.
What they could do though is that if you make the decision based on that, like the game could like put you in like a post epilogue where you're, like it's a totally loveless, depressing marriage, and the Dragon Quest hero is just playing with trains in the basement.
Sure.
I'm just saying, man.
Haru gets depressed and becomes a vegetable hobo. Who just grows...
Yeah, okay. Fine, that was her fucking destiny.
She just grows lonely carrots and feeds the pigeons.
Yeah, good.
She never meets anyone.
She deserves.
Eventually they find her. Only a couple weeks after. In her apartment.
Yeah. The seagulls broke in and got their picks. Oh
Or you can get her to 10. Your choice. Your choice, Joker. It's all up to you.
Oh my god, Hold on a second, I'm gonna type something.
Yeah, no, she's rich, but she gets so sad that like she loses all her money.
Read your Discord.
Just falls apart. Oh my god, all right. Well, I hate that. Yeah, to answer the question, I don't like it. That's bad. I can't think of anything matching, but good luck with your choices. Yeah. All right. Everybody, we'll leave it there. Check out the schedule. Gonna drop it a little bit later. I'm gonna personally on Wooly versus this week.
What day are you gonna play Disco?
So that's what I'm deciding. I need time. It's that time again. Guilty Gear is upon us. I have to do a lot of work, so I need to take some time to finish off what's going on there. So I'm gonna be taking a few days off of the schedule this week to handle that. Probably going to start Disco maybe Wednesday. We'll see. I'll post a schedule, but this week we'll be doing that. I'll try to get some It Takes Two in there, and then also of course some fighting games if we can on Saturday. But otherwise, gonna be working on the next Guilty Gear lore. I mean, I'm already putting a lot of time into it, but yeah, all that and more on Woolly Versus. And do check out the Asuna cut of Paper Mario. It's a lot of effort put into some awesome shit, and it's just clicking through. It's been like fucking hilarious so far. So good stuff on that. You?
Oh yeah, go to Pat Stairsat on Twitch. Do that. Good stuff. Good content.
DMX,
Good.
I hope you're okay.
He's super not going to be okay.
I hope he can. Yeah, we'll see. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.